Okay, I'd like to start the planning commission meeting Wednesday, April 26th, 2023. It is now 6:31. Determination of quorum. Mr. Kenny is excused tonight. Mr. Smith.
Here.
Mr. Reyes.
Here.
Mr. Burke.
Here.
Mr. Price.
Here.
Mrs. Elderkin is excused tonight. Secretary Anderson.
Here.
Vice Chair Colonian.
Here.
Chairman Flynn is here. We have a quorum of 7. Okay, emergency evacuation, doors behind you, go out to the left and the right. And if we could all please stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation. Thank you. Okay, approval of minutes, 5.1, March 29th, 2023. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes, please?
Make a motion that we approve minutes.
I have a motion by Mr. Smith. Do I have a second?
Mr. Chair, I have one correction to the minutes.
Can I get my second first? Have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Reyes. Discussion, Mr. Burke?
For the minutes of the March 29th special meeting, the members present at the end, it says Michael Burke exited the meeting at approximately 10:30. That should be corrected to Kevin Reyes exited the meeting at 10:30. And I was present for the entire meeting.
Okay, do noted, staff, you got that? Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we have 4 ratifications tonight. We have a J.W. Studley, owners, John W. Studley.
For all more minutes, 5.2, right?
Yes, excuse me. 5.2. Thank you, Rick. We just got that information. April 5th, 2023 site walk. That's for the Baptist Church Fairview conversion, 484 Fairview Avenue. Have a motion to approve the minutes. I have a motion by Mr. Smith. Have a second?
Second.
Have a second by Mr. Price. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Rick. Okay, back to the ratifications. 6.1, J.W. Studley, owners John W. Studley, lot 115, and Anna Confrida, lot 116. Applicant John W. Studley III, ratification of a development plan and review approval decision and existing wood cutting and mulch business, AP 27 lots 115, 116, zone industrial 1, general business respectively. It's on Reservoir Road. Take a motion to ratify.
Make a motion to ratify.
I have a motion by Mr. Smith. I have a second. Second by Mr. Reyes. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? It's not a public hearing, Mr. Beard. It's just a ratification, please. Just a ratification, Mr. Beard. Okay. Well noted. 6.2, Hammett Reserve, another ratification, owners Anthony M. Pimentel III, applicant same as above, ratification of an approved minor amendment to a previously approved preliminary plan decision for 2-lot minor subdivision consisting of 1 existing residence, AP 323 lot 60, zone RR3, Hammett Road. I have a motion to ratify.
I'll make a motion to ratify the decision on Hammett Preserve.
I have a motion by Mr. Burke. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a second by Mr. Reyes. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, there was a correction in your packet for Walter B. Chase Platt, owners estate of Ernest A. Kutu, applicant Andrew Catanzaro, ratification of preliminary plan approval for a proposed 2-lot minor subdivision, AP 103 lot 44, zone R20, located on Hill Street. Do I have a motion for ratification?
Make a motion for ratification.
I have a motion by Mr. Smith. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Mr. Price. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. I have another ratification on 282 Pulaski Street redevelopment. Owner Stephen Key Lenz, applicant Universal Realty LLC. Ratification of a development plan and review decision for a proposed construction of one building containing a total of 9 contractor garages, AP 56 lot 101, zone industrial 2, address 282 Pulaski Street. There was also a correction again on your packet. Do entertain a motion for ratification.
A motion to ratify.
I have a motion by Mr. Reyes. I have a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Clunian. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay, next on the agenda, I have a one-year extension request. Calvin Town subdivision owners, Calvin Town Realty LLC, Rockwood Realty LLC, applicant Revity Energy LLC. Master plan approved 18 lot residential cluster subdivision, AP 85 lots 1 and 5.3, AP 92 lot 1, zone RR2, rural residential, Calvin Town Road. Mr. Burke, you're going to be recusing yourself because you're in a butter, correct?
Correct. I am recusing myself from this agenda item.
All right, thank you, Mr. Burke.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Joseph Brennan on behalf of the applicant, Covington Town. Covington Town Realty LLC. The applicant had been before this planning board a year ago in April of 2022. We were hoping to have everything in. Preliminary application sometimes takes a little longer than expected. We were this close actually to being on tonight's agenda for it. So I'm pretty sure we'll be here next month, but in just trying to stay with the regulations and ensure our applications stays vested, we're here requesting our first by right extension before this board.
Okay. Any questions by any board members? Okay, I'll entertain a motion for a one-year extension for Calvert Town subdivision.
I'll make the one-year extension for the motion to approve the one-year extension
I
for
have a
the
motion by
Calvin Town.
Mr. Smith, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Clunian. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you,
Thank you.
board members, and thank you, staff.
Okay, next 8 under old business and discussion, public hearing. Preliminary plan comp permit, 445 Fairview Avenue, continued from March 29, 2023. Owner E. Wayne Realty LLC, applicant Pazuco Construction and Company, proposed 5 residential units with 25% deemed to be affordable. An existing multi-unit residential parcel consisting of 12 units, AP 63 lot 154. Zone R20 with a total property area of approximately 1.5 acres, 445 Fairview Avenue. Hi, Mr. Cronin.
Mr. Chairman,
Just before you start, Mr. Cronin, just disclosing that I had an email by Mrs. Panado and it is in our packet, where she
I
had some concerns.
did receive a copy of that email this afternoon.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Thomas Cronin, Nolan Bernero, Cronin Ferrara, 1070 Main Street, Coventry, Rhode Island, for the applicant Pazuco Construction, Inc. This is a comprehensive permit preliminary plan hearing. The reason for the comprehensive permit is that this plan includes an affordable housing component. As Mr. Flynn mentioned, AP 63 lot 154 is 1.55 acres, zone R20. On that property currently, the 12-unit residential apartment building. If you've been by, you notice it's been recently renovated. There are, it's like an old cape in the front and then an apartment building, 2-story apartment building behind that are connected. I'm going to go slow and go back a ways because we were here for master plan January, February, and March of 2021. It's been a couple of years. Some of these affordable housing situations take a little time to develop. We did get the approval on March 24th, 2021. And the reason why I bring that up is similar to Mr. Brennan just before me. We appeared last month to extend our master plan approval by 1 year because we weren't certain what agenda we would be heard on. And it's a good thing because we got shoved off of last month's agenda onto this month's agenda. So, hey, you know, actually planning worked that time. So we appreciate the courtesy.
You're welcome.
At master plan, we had proposed 10 units in 2 buildings, but Mr. Anderson in particular was pressuring me and we reduced that to 8 units in 2 buildings during the course of those hearings. And we had 3 affordable units at that time. Everyone knows this is on Fairview Avenue. The site has direct access to Fairview Avenue. And Fairview Avenue is a state highway. There's an existing driveway, which will be continued to be used for the proposed extension of the residential use of this property. The site has public water and public sewer, which are existing on site, will be expanded to accommodate the additional building. The site is on a public bus line. In addition to the existing buildings and parking, is a small forested wetland on the northernmost portion of the property. If you're looking at this map on the top. So there have been some changes to this project, as I'm sure the board is aware in the review of the application. After going through DEM and everything else that we need to do, there's only 1 building now. That 1 building has 5 units. 2 of those 5 units are affordable. I don't know how the agenda item was calculated, but that's not 25%. It's 40% of the building will be affordable. So if you looked at the building from the front, the units 2 and 4 are the affordable units. They're mixed throughout as is required by the affordable housing statute. The building are 2-story townhouse style. You have renderings in your package. The entire building, all 5 units, 2,800 square feet. And it's going to be located on the western edge of the existing parking area. Each of the units would be two bedroom, and they're just under 1,000 square feet of living area. There will be 17 apartments on site with this proposal. We have 34 parking spaces in conformance with the planning and zoning regulations. We are under the comprehensive permit asking this board for zoning relief. As this board is aware from our past experience with comprehensive permits, the zoning authority of the town of Coventry is vested with the planning board when a comprehensive permit has been filed. So that what we are looking for is multifamily in an R20 zone, a density over what is allowable per ordinance, distance between buildings themselves and buildings and the boundaries. Between the building and the boundary, 40 feet is required and 20 feet is requested. And between the buildings, 40 feet is required, 30 feet is requested. And there's also one last issue of lot coverage. We're over the allowable lot coverage. We're in good shape permit-wise. We have our rallying housing letter of eligibility. We have Kent County Water, Coventry and West Warwick Sewer. We have the DOT physical alteration permit, Coventry Fire approval. Coventry Housing Authority has agreed to be the monitoring agent, and Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management has issued this insignificant alteration permit. So that's we're in good shape there. If I could ask that the landscape plan be brought up, Cody, it's the last sheet of the plan. Many of the concerns when we were here, master plan were with regard to the visibility of this building to the.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Go ahead, Mr. Crowder.
I'll start again. It's fine. So one of the concerns that master plan, one of the concerns of master plan had to do with the visibility of this building.
If you could be quiet, please. We can't hear the proposal. Sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Cronin. I'm sorry.
That's all right. So we've addressed the visibility of the building with this landscape plan, which we've submitted with our application. You can see along the western boundary, there's single family homes there that you cannot see, but they are there. And in addition to a fence along the boundary line, we've have some robust plantings along that boundary line between the building and the boundary. And you can see to the north or top of this plan, some between the buildings and the wetland, along with a fence along that wetland as well. So that's the overview of the project. We would ask for those zoning relief requested, and we'd ask for administrative final. But we are at preliminary, and Joseph Duhamel from Deprete Engineering is here to address some of the technical aspects of the plan, including drainage, a pretty sophisticated turnaround they developed there, as well as the wetland and the traffic. With the board's permission, I'll bring Mr. Duhamel up at this time.
Sure, Mr. Cronin.
Good evening. My name is Joseph Duhamel with Deprete Engineering. Deprete Engineering has office at 2 Stafford Court, Cranston, Rhode Island. Second. Just for the record, I'm project manager at Deprete Engineering. I have 12 years experience with focus on site civil engineering and permitting for single family apartments and commercial development. As part of tonight's package for the preliminary plan review for 445 Fairview Ave, as Tom has indicated, we're going to review the proposed improvements. Some of the key points from master plan was stormwater concerns. If we could go to the grading sheet 7. The site today discharges to the forested wetland to the north side of the property. This stormwater from the roof runoff from the existing buildings, existing parking lot, sheets down to the wetland, unmitigated, untreated for water quality. The design for the proposed development will incorporate water quality mitigation, water quality treatment and mitigation for both proposed runoff and existing runoff for the development. This is done. Well, water quality treatment is done with pervious concrete that's located within the row of parking that's hatched dark gray on the plan. This would treat the runoff from existing and proposed pervious area. The proposed rooftop runoff from the building will discharge into this water quality treatment. And above the water quality storm event, the collected stormwater will discharge into an underground detention system. This detention system has been sized for the 100-year mitigation, as it will reduce or meet the pre-development condition by reducing stormwater for metering out the flow through the underground detention system. This detention system is lined, so no stormwater will be infiltrated. The groundwater will not be affected. The wetland area, the abutting properties will not be affected as part of this development. And this has been reviewed by DEM as part of the approval package. in regards to the curb cut along Fairview Ave, DOT has reviewed and approved the project for a PAPA, permit approval. This will include a extension and widening of the entrance as it is today to a two-way, 24-foot wide entrance. This would incorporate, the work as part of DOT will incorporate sidewalk improvements for the widening of the curb cut. The development from a traffic point of view, per the IT trip generation manual, the existing 12 units generates 6 trips in the AM peak hour, 7 trips in the PM peak hour, for a total of 13. Under the proposed, the total 17 units will generate 9 trips in the AM peak hour and 11 trips in the PM peak hour. This is a net increase of 4 trips daily for the AM and PM peak hour. It is not anticipated that this will increase in trips will negatively impact traffic flow in the area. This has been reviewed and approved by DOT as part of the package. Before I describe any utilities or associated with that, any questions? Any questions regarding stormwater or from the
Excuse me, if we got a public hearing tonight, you'll be able to talk. If you want to have a conversation, please
yes.
go outside. Thank you.
No problem.
You're welcome. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
As part of, one of the other concerns during the master plan was how would emergency vehicles, specifically fire trucks, come into the site and turn around. We have incorporated at the northern end of the site a grass paved reinforced turf turnaround. This is on top of the underground detention system. This turnaround has been coordinated with the fire department. It has a mountable curb so that trucks or emergency vehicles can make a 3-point turn and come back around. This has been, again, reviewed and approved by the fire department. There would be no parking allowed, no cars, nothing of sorts that can be permanently placed on that area of the site. There are no parking signs. I believe painted. Excuse me for a second. Just want to make sure. The hammerhead. No, we don't have the no parking sign, but the hammerhead allows for turning out of the parking spaces and access into the emergency area. Any questions from the board at this moment?
Does anybody board members? have questions? Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
I do, Mr. Flynn. Two questions, and you had mentioned the turf area on the northern part of the property.
Yes.
You said it's gonna be a turf that'll be able to support like an H20 load rating or something that would be able to support fire apparatus, or emergency vehicles. Is that going to be snow plowed in the winter time?
It would be required to as part of, in case of emergency vehicles need to come. So yes.
It would be cleared?
Yes, it would be cleared.
And Mr. Flynn, if I could ask a second question.
Go ahead.
And snow storage, where are you gonna put it on the property?
Snow storage is indicated on the plans, in the area of the emergency turnaround. That snow could be placed on the slope, down gradient of the area. Snow within the parking area there's grass areas next adjacent to the buildings, that snow can be placed there. If there's higher snowfall event, then the owner applicant will have to seek other ways.
Truck it out.
Truck it out.
Thank
Okay,
you.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Anybody else?
We had
Go
some,
ahead, Rick.
we have some comments in our packet from the, from the Public Works Director. I just want to make sure that either you saw them or you're aware. No details included for the precast concrete curb for the sidewalks and no transition precast curbs depicted for ADA access or ADA ramps with detection pads. Are those added to the plans now?
Those were addressed as part of the revisions to the plans.
Okay. And I think there were, I don't know, maybe it's premature to bring this up, I'll defer, but is that a solid, secure privacy fence that's going around the perimeter, or is it chain link with landscape?
It will be a solid, secure fence, yes.
And the underground detention system, which you mentioned, how would that impact the high water table if there is a high water table in the area? Somewhat, not at all.
Not at all. The system's lined.
And what are you proposing for trash containment? Currently, I guess there's one there, and according to the neighbors, from time to time, it overflows now. You're adding 5 units, so I just want to make sure you're gonna.
Yes, as part of planning comments, we incorporated a separate trash enclosure located closer to the street. That also will be screened and
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Rick. Anybody else?
Just Mr. Chair,
Go ahead, Mr.
I just
Anderson.
want to follow up on this, in the planning director's report, right? This is, what is it, a month old? 2 months old? It's fairly new.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just making sure that you read the staff recommendations of, with the stipulations in the back, if we haven't covered that.
yes.
I'm sorry if I
Yes.
missed it. But there was, 10 of them? Well, 9 that would matter to you, so.
I don't believe we're gonna issue this. Yeah, we have no objections to them.
Say again?
We have no objections.
Oh,
objections to the
okay.
comments.
Yeah, all right. Just making sure. All right, so I don't have to read that, so you know them.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it?
Yeah.
Thanks. Anybody else? Mr. Cronin, you have anything else to provide before I open up public hearing?
No, Mr. Chairman,
Got your yellow pad ready, I see.
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to open up public hearing. Have a motion by Mr. Ray. Have a second.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Smith. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, public hearing is now open. I'm gonna start on my left, your right. And everybody will have a chance to speak. We're gonna kind of limit it. If somebody comes up and says something that you had wanted to say, you can just come up and say, I agree with that person. Anybody on this side of the room would like to come up for or against the project? Anybody on the right side? Anybody on Zoom? Last call. Anybody would like to come up? There's no hands up on Zoom. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to close public hearing.
Motion.
Go ahead.
I have a motion by Mr. Reyes. I have a second by Mr. Colonian.
Yep.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay, public hearing is now closed. Mr. Cronin, you have anything else to? I know you want a final administrative, if in
Yes.
fact it does pass.
Yes, and the request for zoning relief will need to be addressed in the decision as we move forward. So if we could delineate those, and if you have any questions about those, they are in the staff report as well.
Yes.
That would be my only request moving forward, is that we deal with those in the decision so that they're clear as we move forward.
Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, I just wanted to get a little bit of clarification. I
Sure.
just wanted to wait till we got the public hearing out of the way. So as I flipped through the staff director's report, there were a couple of things that look like they might be outstanding, so I was just looking to make sure. First of all, do you have, or is there a timetable now for the commencement of construction? Because based on what we had in our records, it was supposed to be done last year. Obviously, that didn't happen. Is it going
Right.
to start right away after you get, what's the target date for a final and then breaking ground?
Mr. Pizzuko is present. He says early fall.
Yeah, he
early
said
fall.
hopefully by the end of 2023. Is that what I heard?
No, early, by the end of the summer. So I
Okay.
said early fall because you know how I am.
Yeah, that's how I am too. That's how I am too. I just wanted to clarify that.
You want to come up, Mr. Pazuka, please, with your name and
Yeah,
address?
I'm just clarifying some of the stuff that's in the report. So
So, I mean, we're here.
Name and address, please.
Ronald Pizzuko, 16 Surrey Drive, Johnston, Rhode Island. Pezzuco. So there's a lot of work to be done from this point on.
Mhm.
We would need to finish our architectural plans and bring them to the building official for review and approval. And obviously, get all of our costs in order. We're in almost May now, so we would assume if everything went as planned, we would start early fall. We've been wanting to do this for a couple of years now.
Mhm.
So that's basically, when that would stop. That would be hopeful for us. We're ready to go with it. We want to make the improvements at 445 Fairview Avenue. We honestly, and we know that this is an improvement for the community in Coventry, where we give them 5 more units. There's a lot more work that we can do as far as we need better parking for our tenants now. We need to upgrade that. The building was built, I believe, in the mid-60s. We have renovated every single unit, brand new kitchens, brand new bathrooms, exterior siding, insulation, energy efficiency, those sort of things. Our last step is to create kind of a nice jewel, okay? So we're B. Wayne Realty that owns this property, but Pizzuko Construction is a general contractor that's been in business since 1987. I'm 59 years old now. My brother and I started when we were in our early 20s. We do a major part of our work is affordable housing within the state. We do thousands and thousands of units for Rhode Island Housing and many developers throughout the state. We do have a vision for this property, and we want to make it beautiful. That's our concern. We care about families, children that live there, parents, single mothers and fathers that need to have a place to live. And we take pride in what we do. Okay, so we're excited about the property. We'd like to do more, obviously. And I think it's gonna be a great property. If you went and looked at what we did to the outside of the building
I did.
recently, it looks good.
Yeah.
Right?
And you said you were gonna do that, and I commend you for that. You said you were gonna renovate the old building before you got to the new building. and
Well,
that's
we
exact-
say it because we want it.
And you did it. So
Right.
I
We
appreciate
say it
that.
because we want it. And I want to see families and people live in a nice spot. My tenants, ironically, when I first bought the building about 8 or 10 years ago, I've never been a residential landowner, right, except for myself. And I didn't like it. I did own singles and twos and this and that. But I think that if you build the right place, you can make a difference. And if you put the right program forward and you have, you critique it, you can do the right thing. So we have some older tenants and they needed gardens and planters and things like that. And we do that for them. One needed a deck, we build a deck for them. What is that? Where's it? If I don't build that deck for her, then it doesn't mean anything to me. It's gonna make her happy. And, they're more elderly people. So that's the type of company that we are. We've been doing this for a very long time. We were brought up in that manner. And, you know, that's what we want to do here. We did go for 10 units and I looked at it and I was like, there's no way you can't fit that many people there. Right?
It's doing your job, Mr. Clark.
I have common sense. You know, common sense is.
Just staying home tonight, Mr. Cronin.
Never give up a unit.
You know.
With that, we appreciate it.
5 units is fine.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I got a couple more things clarified. So do we have the sample deed restriction guaranteeing the respective units remain affordable? I saw a template in the packet. Is that been included yet? Are you aware of any sample deed restriction with affordability liens? Yep.
Yeah.
Do they have that?
They wanted that deed tweaked.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's for Allen Housing's deed and lease. So, but they asked for a little something extra. We could put it in there. It's not a problem.
So is that all set? It's done then? Take it off the outstanding? You've got it down as an outstanding item.
We have to submit that for final. either
Yeah, it
way.
would be,
Yeah.
that would be a stipulation at final,
Yeah,
Okay.
for
Yeah.
final.
So it's okay.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I'm trying to do is make
Yeah,
sure I
still-
don't miss any of the stipulations and I don't want to list any that you already have. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to get through the list right here. So Coventry Housing Authority is the approved entity. You have that.
yes.
And a financial pro forma. I saw something in here with numbers on it. Has that been submitted? A financial pro forma for the proposed development?
Yes, that was submitted to Allen Housing. And to Coventry Planning, but
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's not outstanding. Is that right, John?
That's correct.
Okay. So far out of that, it was just one item. Approximate checklist item 66, approximate cubic yards of rock and ledge excavation, yards of fill to be brought on site and yards of gravel excavation to be removed if
Yeah.
applicable.
that remains open.
That remains open.
Yes.
Okay. Soil erosion and sediment control plan application. We have it in the plan set, but I don't believe it was submitted for the town
It
engineer.
has not been approved. Right.
Okay, has it been submitted?
Won't be submitted until final. Yeah.
Okay. And I think we talked about the lease, written evidence of incorporation or nonprofit status of the applicant of the project, as well as written approval of the authority. So is that the thing that's pending with Rhode Island Housing?
I'm sorry, Mr. Clooney.
All right, it says, and I'm reading from John's report, written evidence of incorporation and or nonprofit status of the applicant of the project, as well as written approval or authority of the project does not appear to have been submitted.
I believe we've submitted the letter from Allen Housing.
I got the letter. we
Yeah, I
have a
don't-
copy of it. Is that, I don't know what that meant. I'm just
Okay.
reading it right from this, from.
Yeah, I'm not sure about,
And in all fairness, I'm not sure Mr. Studley did the planning report. Did you, right? Right. So do you know if that item K is outstanding?
we did submit the letter of eligibility.
I'm looking at number K on page 7. Letter K.
So my recommendation would be to keep that in, and then at final, what they submit to us. we
Right,
could
if
do
it
that-
comes in. fine.
That second
Okay.
review.
And. Okay. Okay. Downstairs. Okay, so we've got waivers and then the way this one's written, so. Approval of the proposed density of 17 units, not 19. And. Think. So I think that's it. I think I listed everything that's outstanding and we have the list of the zoning waivers you requested. It looks like there's 5 of them.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Anderson.
One more question. So, Mr. Cronin, you rattled off like all the permits that you had, right? You rattled them all off like
Yeah.
8 of them. Is there any that you don't have? I guess would,
Not
okay,
currently.
Okay.
I mean.
everything's
we-
good. All right, yeah,
we
it was
have-
just a
Yeah.
smaller list if there was, but
The planning report talks about as-built. So there's still some building engineering, but that's building permit. That's even past
Yeah.
Final.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like we have every permit we're ever gonna need, but we have what we need right now.
To proceed.
Yeah.
Anybody else? You all set, Mr. Anderson?
As far as the-
Name and address, please. Again, name and address.
Ronald Pazuko, 16 Surrey Drive, Johnston, Rhode Island.
Go ahead, Mr. Pavilion.
So we have engaged Union Studios Architects. I don't know if you're familiar with that company. To design the buildings. They are a major architectural firm in the city of Providence. And they are involved in this type of development and affordable housing units. And that's basically where we got our plans from. So I know about as-built, which is gonna be civil, I get that. But just want to let you know that those plans will be presented to the building department in a full set. And the fire department, for their review prior.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I didn't hear anybody else from the board have any questions. Mr. Clooney, it sounds like you're ready to make a motion if you would.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion that we approve the preliminary plan submission for the comprehensive permit application for property at 445 Fairview Avenue. That's Assessors Plat 63, Lot 154 in the R20 zone, consisting of approximately 1.55 acres. The proposal is to construct 5 units in addition to the 12 units that already exist on the property. And of those 5 units, 2 of them will be deemed affordable, low to moderate income housing. The favorable or motion to approve comes with the following stipulations that the applicant provide the necessary sample deed restriction with the affordable lien securing the use as low and moderate income housing for those 2 units, the financial pro forma of balance sheet for the proposed development if it has not been yet provided. Prior to final, checklist item 66, something giving us the approximate cubic yards of rock and ledge excavation, yards of fill to be brought on site, and yards of gravel excavation to be removed, if any. The soil erosion and sediment control plan application needs to be formally submitted to the Planning and Development Department for review and approval by the town engineer. We may, so if it's applicable, need written evidence of the incorporation and or nonprofit status of the applicant of the project, as well as written approval or authority of the project, which as of now does not appear to have been submitted. Along with this favorable motion, I would like to incorporate the following waivers. Relief in terms of the approved of the proposed density of 17 units under the Planning Commission's review of the comprehensive permit application. Also that a special use permit for residential multifamily apartment buildings within the R20 zoning district. Relief in terms of the distance between the multifamily dwellings and the property line of 40 feet. The minimum distance between multifamily dwellings and property lines for this application is 20 feet. The distance between multifamily buildings and 2 abutting ends is supposed to be 40 feet. This plan depicts 30 feet, which is acceptable. And the R20 dimensional regulations have a maximum lot coverage of 20%. In this case, the application that's being approved, it's not to exceed 44%. In order to make this favorable motion for a comprehensive permit, I'd like to incorporate the positive findings of fact supported by evidence on the record for each of the following provisions. The proposal is consistent with the needs of the associated and with the needs associated in the town's comprehensive community plan, with particular emphasis on the plan's affordable housing plan. The proposed project is consistent with the affordable housing needs identified on the town's comprehensive plan in that its housing production, especially since the town is well short of the 10% goal identified by the state for 2025. In fact, it's probably somewhere between 5 and 6%. The proposed development complies with the provisions of the town zoning ordinance and subdivision regulations, and or where it's expressly varied or waived, local concerns that have been affected by the relief granted do not outweigh the state and local need for more low and moderate income housing. With the zoning waivers previously granted with master plan approval, the proposed project complies with the provisions of the zoning ordinance and subdivision regulations as applicable. All low and moderate income housing units are proposed to be integrated throughout the development, compatible in scale and architectural style to the market rate units within the development, and will be built and occupied prior to this or simultaneous with the market rate units. The two affordable units proposed are appropriately located in the proposed building. They are compatible in scale and architectural style to the market rate units and will be built simultaneously with the market rate units. There does not appear to be any significant impact on the health, welfare, safety, and current and future residents of the community, to include safe circulation of pedestrian and vehicular traffic. Provisions are being made for emergency services, sewage disposal, potable water, stormwater runoff, and the preservation of natural, historical, and cultural features. In adherence with the conditions of the Planning Commission approval, this project does not appear to impact any of the residents in the community, including traffic circulation, municipal infrastructure and services, drainage, stormwater, or significant historical, cultural, or community features. The proposed project has adequate and permanent access to Fairview Avenue, and incorporated is the physical alterations permit submitted by the applicant. Let's see. I'd like to incorporate the planning director's report into my motion, that and also the final plan may be submitted and approved administratively. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. I think I got it up.
Okay, I have a favorable recommendation by Mr. Colonian. Do I have a second? I have a second by Mr. Price. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Welcome. Okay, number 9, we have no recommendation to zoning this month. Number 10, the zoning ordinance and map amendment application has been withdrawn from the applicant. So that's no longer on our agenda for business. We'll go to number 11. We have a public hearing. Preliminary plan, Rice City Estates owner Pippin Orchard Investors LLC, CO attorney Tom Cronin, applicant same, proposed major subdivision, 6-lot, single-family home with no street creation, AP 320, lot 77, zone RR5. It's on Rice City Road. Come on up, Mr. Cronin.
Mr. Chair, before we begin, I'm going to be recusing myself from this particular item, and I'll be leaving the room at this time. Don't forget to get me.
Okay. We'll let you know, John. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Thomas Cronin, Nolan Bernero, Cronin Farrar, 1070 Main Street, Coventry, Rhode Island, for the owner and applicant, Pippin Orchard Investors. We're here tonight on preliminary plan for a major subdivision, a street front development. AP 320 lot 77 is just about 61 acres of vacant wooded land, 60.93 acres according to the survey. It's located on the easterly side of Rice City Road, just about 1,000 feet from the intersection of Rice City Road and Plainfield Pike. We were before this board June 2022 for pre-application and September 2022 for master plan approval. Rice City Road is a gravel road, kind of varying width and path, western Coventry. North of this property, single-family homes. East of this property is undeveloped land and Audubon Society preserved land. South is also private undeveloped land and Audubon Society land with frontage on Cahoon Road. To the west are single-family homes across Rice City Road. They're across the whole entire area of our more than 1,000 feet of frontage. There is a wetland, a pretty significant wetland that runs from north to south through this property. It gets as close as about 450 feet from Rice City Road and meanders out to about 1,000 feet from Rice City Road. The entire 60-acre parcel is zoned R5. So what we are proposing is a 6-lot street front conforming single-family house lots. So it's a major subdivision without a road. We're going to use Rice City Road. Each one of the 6 lots will have frontage on Rice City Road, a driveway, utilities from Rice City Road. As I mentioned, it's in an R5 zone, and each of the 6 lots has an area in excess of the 5 acres. Lot 1 is 11 acres, and lot 5 is the smallest one with 5.1 acres. Lot 6 has 13.6 acres. As you can see, it extends back quite a bit. So, as I mentioned, the frontage on Rice City Road, each lot has at least 300 feet of frontage required in the R5 zone. Each one of these houses will have its own private well and its own private individual OWTS. At master plan, this board required that we agree to improve Rice City Road to the Coventry, I guess it's in the subdivision regulations, yeah, gravel street standard. So along our property frontage, the road will be widened to approximately 24 feet where it can be. I mean, there's might be some obstacles in the road, but best efforts to be made to widen it to 24 feet and construct it in a manner to satisfy the gravel road standard. There are some specifics on the plan that I need to draw your attention to that are just a little unusual. On lot 6, in the southwestern corner of the property along Rice City Road, there is a municipal gravel turnaround. So from snowplows, school buses, fire trucks, Rice City Road does continue beyond this lot, but this is our only area of control, right? So we put this turnaround on the furthest point on our property for use for municipal vehicles and fire vehicles. Western Coventry Fire is in agreement with the placement. The other thing is we've placed a cistern in between lots 3 and 4 along Rice City Road, and the fire department has also approved the location of that cistern. So those are some design kind of highlights. You'll notice in the plan showing the proposed homes that they've been located not too deep into these lots, about 100 to 150 feet into the lot. And that's because the wetland is behind them. So we want to stay away from the wetland, to the extent we can in order to preserve the country atmosphere of Rice City Road in the area, we're proposing a 35-foot no-cut buffer along each lot as it abuts Rice City Road. So even though the houses won't be too deep in the lot, there will be 35 feet of trees as they exist now, with the exception of the cistern and the turnaround in the driveways for each one of these properties. We are seeking some waivers here. We've identified them in our application. We're seeking waiver from the location and identification of trees over 50 years old. This is a large parcel of just over 60 acres. It has a large wetland in it, which makes it difficult to go out there and identify all these trees. We're only we can't disturb the wetland. So whatever is there is gonna stay there. And we don't see the sense in going out there and identifying trees that no one can disturb without permission from DEM. And that same 35-foot buffer along the road is the basis of our request for relief from the street tree requirement that we not be required to plant trees along Rice City Road since we're leaving the trees that exist there now. And from the requirement that an easement for a hiking or bicycle trail be included in the first 15 feet along Rice City Road. You know, our proposal is to leave those trees there, and as it won't be improved, the easement would be impractical. So I have Sam Swanson here to talk about the site design and the drainage design. And if the board doesn't have any particular questions for me now, I'll have Mr. Swanson speak, and then we will both be available to answer any questions. Can I bring him up, Mr. Chairman?
Go on,
All right.
Mr. Cronin. Hi, Sam. Name and address, please.
Good evening, Sam Swarsa, Coventry Survey Company, 46 South Main Street, Coventry, here for Pippin Orchard investors. As Tom said, we have Rice City Estates. It's a proposed 6-lot major frontage subdivision on the north side of Rice City Road. The site is generally sloping down towards the northeast, where there's a large forested wetland. Wetlands were delineated by Applied Biosystems. There's roughly 86 flags that they delineated out there. And then we've field surveyed those locations in. From that wetland buffer, wetland edge, we have a 75-foot buffer that is required by RIDEM. And we're not proposing any alterations within this buffer. The closest point that we come to the buffer is on lot 1. And the soils are adequate for on-site wastewater treatment systems. There's loose ablation till soils on the site. Water tables ranging from 3 feet to 8 feet. The proposed 6 frontage lots are ranging between 5 acres and 13 acres. And we're meeting all the minimum zoning regulations. The houses are roughly spaced about 220 feet from each other. So it leaves pretty good tree coverage between them. And Tom had a couple of these points. I'm not gonna read those. So other than that, we're proposing some drainage using the CRMC single family guidance document to handle just the rooftop and the driveway features, impervious features. And all the dwellings are proposed to be 4 bedrooms. So that's pretty much the gist of it. And if there's any questions, either Tom or I can try to answer.
Any questions from the board? Mr. Swanson? Go ahead, Mr. Anderson.
I'm just always trying to learn here. I saw the septic's gonna be an Elgin system.
Yeah.
You said like the water table's 3 to 8 feet. But they're all Elgin systems. Is that, I thought that was like when the water table was all less than, 4 feet or something. I don't know.
Yeah, the Elgin system can be used at any water table depth.
All right.
Except less than 18 inches, then you have to go to something different. But we're just proposing elements just all across the board, just to make it easier for the developer, just, do one and they're all the same after that, pretty much. So,
All right, and then all those, they have looks like a little vent stack that comes out at the end. I mean, a vent stack. I'm just trying to, I'm just trying to understand. I've,
yeah, you can vent the elements. I don't think we are showing them vented, but.
okay. I thought I saw it, but that's fine.
Yeah, that might be the cistern, maybe, but anyway. They can be vented, but I don't think we are. It's usually vent them if it does, the Elgin system will be a certain depth below the surface, like greater than 2 feet or something like that. But I think cover over the systems, we're showing like 18 inches, so.
All right, yeah, it shows a vented cap on every drawing.
Okay,
4-inch, non-perforated pipe. I'm just trying to learn,
yeah, maybe we are, I can't remember honestly,
Okay.
but
All right, yeah, I
can
just wanted,
vent them.
I wanted to understand the
Yeah.
Eldridge system as opposed to, the conventional that
It is kind of like a conventional system. It's gravity fed.
Yeah. All right, thanks for now. Thanks.
Anybody else for Sam? Mr. Cronin? Anything else before I open up public hearing?
I don't believe so. Thank you.
I just want to get one clarification because I'm reading from the report. So I see what the waivers were and you did go over those. Did we not waive the pedestrian bicycle town easement at Master and now you're asking to have it waived now? Am I understanding that correctly?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. And that's because you feel the 35-foot no cut buffer outweighs the need for the town to come in and
There-
eventually clear cut.
Yeah,
15 feet.
it's in direct kind of conflict and
Yep.
given the
Okay.
nature of Rice City Road, there's no, it's a dead end. It doesn't lead anywhere. I'm not sure where a hiking or bicycle path would,
I'd much rather leave the trees.
yeah, so that's.
Yeah. I remember, it seemed we had a brief discussion and it was acceptable and then something must have changed. And I guess maybe it was like after the meeting, they said, wait a minute, why did we kind of go along with that
Yeah,
and not object at that time? But that's fine. I just wanted to get it on the record, quite frankly.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks, Rick. Anything else? You all set, right?
Yeah.
Anybody else? Well,
Yeah, I could-
yeah, go
I
ahead.
just want to know, because again, this is keeping up with the rural character, right? I mean, you're maintaining that 35-foot buffer. I mean, it's fantastic. But then I look at the lots and, what is it? 3 or 4 of them over 10 acres. You got the 1 5-acre lot, which fits with the comp plan. But it looks like you're only clearing like maybe basically like not even 10% of most of these lots to make your build. I just like this noted and out there. I mean,
Yeah.
it's important that we don't disturb as less as we can, keeping with the rural character. Just noting that, other than lot 5, but it's still, a small clearing. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to open up public hearing.
Make a motion to open public hearing.
Motion by Mr. Smith.
I'll
Have a
second it.
second by Mr. Reyes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries to open up public hearing. Okay. I'm gonna start on my left. Your right. Everybody will have a chance to speak. If you hear somebody that said something that you agree with, just come up and agree with that person. Okay, anybody here like to come up for or against the project? Name and address, please.
Donna Moore, 225 Rice City Road in Green.
Hi.
When we were here the last meeting, they said that the recommendation was that the driveways not be straight in. And looking at the plan, it looks like there's at least 3 of them that go straight in. If they're only going to be 100 and some feet off the road, you're going to see every one of those houses. There's the 35-foot buffer of trees on the road is not going to make a difference. Our house is over 300 feet back off the road. You can see our house. You can see the yard, you can see everything that's there. The conversation last meeting was that these houses would be varied in position and the driveways would not go straight in. It looks like a development. Like city development, not something that would be out in rural Western Coventry. This Rice City Road is one of the few roads left in the west end of this town that is a gravel road. And if you're trying to preserve the character of the west end of town, I'm not sure that what is going to end up being there is going to accomplish that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to come up? Come on up, ma'am. Name and address, please.
Yes, my name is Rebecca Martin and I live at 555 Cahoon Road. 555 Cahoon, Cahoone. And I do have property that does back up to the wetlands and I'm very concerned about the wetlands. I'm very concerned about like the country aspect, the gravel roads. Cahoon Road is also a gravel road. I am concerned about Rice City the road being pushed through to Cahoon Road. I want to make sure that that doesn't happen. Right now, Rice City, we can walk partway down Rice City from Cahoon Road and it does dead end and then it starts again from the other side. And I want to just make sure that we don't get Rice City Road that comes all the way through to Cahoon Road. So I'm watching.
All right.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much for your comment. Anybody else like to come up? Hi, name and address, please.
Lori Cote, 128 Barb's Hill Road. I've been a resident in Western Coventry Green, Rice City for just about all of my life. Kind of sad to see this happening. I do applaud the amount of acreage, but sadly, or not sadly, most of it is wetland in the back. God bless wetland in the back. But I do have concerns. I'm standing beside everyone else in the area that it's something that I don't want to see, and I'm very upset about it. For the fact too, that I unfortunately didn't even hear about the Hopkins Hollow debacle with allowing cluster development in that area and seeing the rest of Western Coventry now stand open to the possibility of that happening elsewhere, including in the area of Rice City Road. I also, Rice City Estates sounds like a super name, but I'm not for that either. Rice City, it's got a history and all of this is being built within a very historic area. So that's about it, but I'm here to say nay, if that means anything. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
for your comments. Anybody else on this side like to come up? Anybody on this side like to come up? We have any hands up on Zoom? You bring them in, Cody? Heather? Are you there, Heather?
Yep. Can you hear us?
Sure, that doesn't sound like Heather. Is that Heather?
That's my husband, David.
Just get with you.
Yeah, so my name is
Name
David.
and address, please.
Yep, David Dancero and Heather Dancero, and it's 1243 Plainfield Pike.
Thank you.
I am directly on the corner of Rice City Road and Plainfield Pike. And our property aligns the, the first part of Rice City Road here. So not only am I 100% against this type of development or any, development and cluster developments in Western Coventry, because it just is completely destroying the character of this area. A lot of concerns about here, especially on Rice City Road. I was listening to the gentleman speak a moment ago, and he was mentioning widening this road. While further down Rice City Road, it may be able to be widened, but there is no way you can widen Rice City Road in the entrance. I would love to see somebody try to widen this road in the entrance. There's 2 historical stone walls on both sides. And also in the summertime, there are flowers lining the entire road. It's a beautiful area, and widening that road would not only destroy historical stone walls, but it would completely destroy the character of this area. As the lady mentioned a moment ago, this is a very historical area. We have an old tavern directly across the street, the church across the street. Now these cluster and developments are just very unwanted by everybody I've spoke to within this neighborhood. I also wanted to mention that since I've been here, the past couple of years, there have been a couple houses already built on Rice City Road and one directly across the street from me, which is like a 1/4 acre of a lot, which I think was somehow grandfathered in. The reason I'm bringing that up is because we all have wells here. Since the 2 homes have been built on Rice City Road and the one across the street from me, my family has been running out of water on a consistent basis. I have to have my children go take showers at my family's home. I have to lug water from other people in town and my families so I can provide bathing and cooking for me and my family and my animals. More development down here is going to cause dramatic harm to everyone in this area with wells. It's mind-blowing how some people don't realize that the more homes you put in these areas with wells, everyone is drinking from the same water table, and water is running out here. We are running out of water. I would love to see some actual testing done to see where this water coming from. Who is going to pay for us to drink and provide cooking and bathing for our families when we don't have any water? On top of that, just the wildlife alone. Again, since these houses have been built down the road, the wildlife has less and less places to go. And living here, you notice that. You may think there's plenty of, open land and places for the animals to go, but there is not. The more development that happens, the less areas there are for these wildlife to go, and they come into our yards, they come into our homes when we want them in the wild. We don't want them all on our properties. And now they have very limited places to go. Since those homes have been built down the street, I've been inundated with wildlife coming onto my property like I've never seen before in the 10 years I've been here. So I just wanted to mention that there's no way that Rice City Road can be opened up in the entrance of it, which is to me the most important part. People coming and going out of that area on 102 is very dangerous. 14 is very dangerous because people go flying down that road, and now you're trying to have more cars come in and out of there when you can't widen that road. So I'm very against this. I think it's a horrible idea for this area and this neighborhood. And they're looking at the plan as well. Those houses are very close together. I understand they may meet the minimum zoning and acreage, but those houses are very close together when you look at them. It seems like I'm living in Warwick all over again. That was it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Cody, anybody else have their hand up? No.
Yes.
Can you bring them in, Cody? Patty, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Name and address, please.
It's Patricia Chamberlain, 1449 Plainfield Pike, Green, Rhode Island.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I was actually going to voice the same concern that he had. That part of Rice City Road is pretty much on like the worst part of 14. And you're talking, they're 4-bedroom homes. They have the possibility of having 24 more vehicles coming out of that road every day. I know like that right now there may only be 12, but that's still a lot of vehicles that come out of that road. And that is the worst part. You can't open it up there. And it's a blind spot. And I have the same concerns that he has also too about the wells. That's a lot of people. that's, that, like I said, I do agree with everything that he said earlier.
Okay, thank you, Patty. Is that it?
Yep, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Cody, anybody else have their hands up? Anybody else in the audience like to speak? Come on up, man.
Donna Moore, 225 Rice City Road, Green. I cannot tell you exactly who this gentleman was, but maybe 10 years ago, they were trying to redesign the end of Route 117 onto Plainfield Pike. The state, it was a DOT engineer, don't know the man's name. He said that they could not redesign that intersection because Plainfield Pike through Rice City is on the National Historic Register. There are stone walls that cannot be moved or disturbed. There are markers that cannot be moved or disturbed. So widening the end of Rice City Road is not going to be any benefit because you can't get out onto 14. 14 is 2 lanes. There's no breakdown lane. There's no place to walk. And the cars do come flying through there. I cannot remember the man's name, but he did say that they would not undertake that project of trying to redesign the end of 117 to come out to a stop sign rather than the island that's there, because it was too time consuming to go through the National Historic Registry to get those markers moved. Thank you.
Thank you. Come on up, sir. Name and address, please.
Cecil Moore, Cecil, CECIL, Moore, MOORE, 225 Rice City Road, Greenwood Island. I guess my house was the first new house on Rice City Road in many years. And then Mr. Lake, who I give a right away to at the end of where Rice City Road ends, has the last new house. Both of us purposely built our houses 300 feet back. And as Mrs. Moore said, excuse me, I've had a cold. We disturbed no trees in front of our house. We purposely just cut the driveway in and sent it straight back. All the trees on both sides of Rice City Road, going back 50, 75 feet, are all dead, bug eaten, and laying down. So this 35-foot buffer you're talking about, to keep trees there, they would actually have to plant trees, keep that tree buffer. And as far as the bike path, or anything like that goes, it'd be totally impossible on our road because of the width of it. Plus the fact, at the end, after pole 8, Mr. Lake and myself paid to bring electricity all the way down that road. Those are all brand new poles. We're still paying for it. All of that would have to be ripped out and moved over and widened. So there's a lot of issues there. I'm not against development. I'm not against, they have the 5 acres. They have the setbacks. If there's one person coming in buying the land or one developer buying the land, they have the right to build there. I'm just saying, we need to make sure that that's done right and it doesn't look like a development in the town of Cranston. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
That will be done right. If in fact it passes. Anybody else? Mr. Cronin, would you like to come up and address a couple of the comments? I know you were writing. I know the plans are hard to read. I know somebody talked about the houses lined up. They look like some of them are offset to me.
So, yeah, so to Mrs. Moore's first comment, we did change and curve some of the driveways that were opposite houses. So where the driveway was gonna come out to somebody's house, we agreed to and did on the plan, you know, manipulate the driveway so that it was curved and, you know, not pointing at the house. So you can see from looking at the plan that some of them are curved and some of them are straight. So that's what we're trying to accomplish there. I don't think there's any dispute that you'll be able to see these roads, these houses from Rice City Road. I don't think that's in dispute. With regard to widening the road at Plainfield Pike, we don't have that authority and we cannot undertake that, and we never promised or proposed to undertake that. We might work with the town. We have to improve in front of our property and we have to use our land to widen Rice City Road. And we understand that obligation and we're willing to undertake that obligation. As far as improving the quality of the gravel road, and Mr. Smith can interrupt me at any time here, we'll work with the town and improve the quality of the road beyond, you know, our property lines. But we can't take other people's property, knock over historic stone walls, or even their flowers, right? We're limited in our capacity to do these improvements to our property and or cooperation with the town on the town right of way. Now, the town right of way on this road is wherever. I don't know, and nobody knows. I mean, when the surveying was done and we talked about this, both at pre-application and at master plan, the 40-foot right of way that the town owns for this road is, I don't know. You know, they know they got the road where it is, and beyond that, I don't know. But so we're not talking about, we might be talking about improving Rice City Road at the corner of Plainfield Pike, but even that's about 1,000 feet from our property. I don't know that the town will obligate us to or cooperate with us to improve that. They probably won't want to undertake those expenses even at non-Bacon Davis wages kind of thing, right? But the improvements that we're here speaking about are the ones that are in front of our property where we have control. So I think those are most of the concerns that I can address.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Corona?
There were a couple of
Go
other
ahead.
things. There were a couple other things. This is, and I know we did approve this as far as the number of lots, the size of lots and the general location of the dwellings at master plan, but this is a conventional subdivision as opposed to a cluster.
Correct.
Yes. And do you have anything, and I know wells can be a touchy subject, but you're going to bore down to bedrock, right? Down to the aquifer.
We're gonna install artesian wells.
Okay.
Wherever
So
that-
those should not impact the abutters wells? Is it possible that some folks out there don't have artesian wells? Maybe they have dug wells, they have.
Yeah.
I mean, I just kind of wondered what your engineer's take is on whether a development of 6 new houses would
Yeah.
impact the.
Well, I would say a couple of things in response to those comments. The DEM requires us to locate wells, to locate people's wells in our radius. That's the end of the investigation, right? We don't go see if they're dug wells or how they're operating or anything else, just locate them so that we don't interfere with water quality, right, in any way. That's the main issue that they want us to deal with. So, we've done that, obviously. And as far as where these where the wellhead is, where this water is coming from, as long as the water quality is sufficient and the water pressure, the volume of water is sufficient, the DEM doesn't require any further investigation beyond that. So I don't have the answers to those questions where, whether they're coming from a common source or not. I only can address the location of the neighboring wells, the location of our wells, and what will be required as far as water quality and volume of water per residence.
So you are required to produce a volume of water or you can't get a building permit.
That's correct.
Is that correct?
That's
Okay.
correct,
And
yes.
usually that means you're gonna drill down whatever it is to get into the aquifer, 100, 200 feet,
Yeah.
300 feet,
Yes, these,
whatever it is.
yeah, these are going to be nicely built homes sold at market rates. They will have an artesian well drilled down to bedrock.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything else?
Nope. And the reason, if I'm not mistaken, again, just looking at the plans, is you had to do a balancing act here. The reason these houses are not set back much further, it's not only to preserve, but not to disturb the area in the rear of these lots, which is basically a designated wetland.
That's
Is
right.
that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thanks. Mr. Cronin, Mr. Anderson would like to, he's not gonna let you go.
He always waits until I'm walking away. I
Oh,
know.
there's just certain points that there's certain bullets here. We gotta
I
check,
noticed.
gotta check the bullets off. The poles, are they on the side of the street that you're developing on? Or are they on the other side?
I'm gonna have to ask Sam that question. I apologize.
Okay. I want to.
It's like they're on the side.
Yeah. So they're on the same side as the development
Yep,
on our side. I guess.
sure. Are those gonna have to be moved? No.
No.
And
And
then,
most of them are in the town right away. One of them's on our property, but I mean, the road will be extended to
right,
those poles,
right.
right?
And I just want to understand the poles that came out that are on the road, were put in by the town. Right, and the
think-
people that we're talking here, when they have to put 2 or 3 poles on their property because they're 300 feet and that's what they're paying for.
I think they also, I believe that Mr. and Mrs. Moore, from my conversations with them, I was gonna say Narragansett Electric, but I'm like 3 companies back there, Rhode Island Energy, actually had them install street poles and then the poles on their property, at their expense.
Okay.
So beyond the end of, say where our municipal turnaround is going, the Moores have, and I guess maybe Mr. Lake too, I'm not too sure about that part, but at least Donna and Cecil Moore had to pay to install street front poles and then onto their property.
Right.
That's pretty unusual, but that's the way that it went down.
Right, so they paid for it, but you guys get to tap into it now, and that's what I'm saying. It is what it is. You know.
We've discussed with them sharing some of that cost.
Yeah. Okay.
Should we have the opportunity to develop the homes?
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So there was a conversation to share that cost. All right.
That's how I
Yeah.
know that the utility put it to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And then just back to, and maybe this is for the engineer, back to the wells. When they test that water for flow and pressure, is it all 6 wells at once, or do they just calculate it out from one well? From one, I don't know if that's,
good point.
because to get to the proper simulation, you would think they'd dig
Name and
down.
address, Sam, please.
Yes, Sam Swarsa, Coventry Survey Company, 46
Yeah,
South
that's
Main Street, Coventry. I'm not a water engineer, but I'll just kind of answer as much as I can. When the person's gonna pull their well permit, when they go to drill the well, they have to then test the well. And one of the things is gallons per minute and what's in the water. And that's what, if it's under that certain gallons per minute, then they have to, figure out some other way to get water, or they can't, go to a building permit stage. And that has nothing to do with the engineer or anything. That has to do with the well driller and the town of Coventry and the owner.
Right, and this isn't new. So I'm just thinking that when they do this, they're formulated for 6 houses to deal with the
It's
amount of water
one at a
flow.
time. They'll build one
one at a
one
time.
house.
Right.
Pull a well permit, do that building permit, next house,
He
Okay.
doesn't have to drill them all at the same time. To answer
Right.
your question.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I have one
Go ahead.
follow-up as long as you're up there, Sam. So if the poles are on one side, do you know where you're gonna get the 6 feet for the road widening? If it's approximately 18 feet of gathering, is it vary? Or I just want, it's all within the town right of way. You're not taking anyone's
Right.
private property across the street. You're only gonna be widening in the, along the frontage of your 6 lots.
Yeah.
There are no improvements beyond or before. But at this point, the 6 feet, a little might come from one side, a little might come from the other, because you're not gonna relocate poles. And I would assume, at least based on some of what was just said, that you don't have 6 feet between the pole and the existing gravel road at some locations. So
Yeah.
the 6 feet's coming from the other side.
Yeah. Yeah, existing width of the gravel right now is like 12 feet. And the width of the right of way is around like the 25 and it's varying. So we don't want to propose to do anything outside the existing right of way, keep that the same.
Correct.
And do our best to widen it as much as possible. The 24 feet being some kind of a controlling number, but maybe we won't even get there. If there's a telephone pole, if there's a stone wall, we're not going to disturb the wall or the
Right.
pole. Just,
You're working with DPW on this though, right?
yeah,
Kevin?
yeah.
Because this is a town road and you guys have agreed to make these improvements for the town, so they don't have to go out and expend their funds to do it. Is
Yeah,
that correct?
DPW and the applicant went out there together, talked about it, because we actually proposed less. We proposed only 18 feet widening because it just seemed more of a comfortable number to keep, some kind of a boundary between the walls and the poles, but they agree 24 can maybe be met.
With
so,
the concern for fire trucks,
Yeah.
utility
Yeah.
vehicles, snow plows, things like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That it, Rick? Yep, go ahead.
Hey, one more, Sam. So if you do go on the other side of the road to widen it, right? Isn't there isn't there already a town buffer? Like even though it's even though it's a whatever 18-foot road or whatever's existing, isn't there like usually 10 feet on both sides?
Not in the 1800s.
Yeah.
Right. No, that's what I was asking. So if you do have to go on the other side, then that is someone else's
They're not gonna.
property that you might be taking.
Yeah, like
take.
Okay.
the gravel path right now kind of goes from one side of the right of way to the other. So in some cases, maybe it's like 12 feet down one side will widen, and then on some cases we'll do more. But like on some spots out here, we're like right up against the right of way edge, so you can't
Right.
even widen one
Okay.
side.
Okay.
It is what it is.
Yeah. All right. Thanks.
Mr. Flynn, I just have,
Go ahead.
well, Sammy's up there. I have a little bit of experience at trying to find right of ways with the town.
Yeah.
It was with your dad. We had a problem on Lewis Farm Road like 25 years ago with someone claiming they owned part of the road. And, so we had Mr. Swasser Senior come out and he actually did a survey on the road. And he said on those old roads, and correct me if you want to, Peter did it. I helped him and I learned a whole bunch. And he said like those old roads from the 1800s, as Mr. Colonian was saying, is what Peter told me is there isn't any defined right away. What it is you have to survey the properties on both sides, and what's left in the middle is where the actual town right of way is, because there isn't actually a legal description for the town right of way. It's what is not described. So property owner on the south side or on that property would be the west side, then people on the east side or the northeast side. Once you have those boundaries, what's left in the middle is what your dad taught me is actually the right of way. And after he did that on Lewis Farm Road, the person that thought they owned the road put the flag up and said, yeah, you're right. Okay. So is that correct?
Yeah, I think there's a couple ways to do it depending on how the land was cut out in the 1800s. There's different ways that the owner, which probably wasn't even a survey at that time, laid out how they wanted to sell the land or create the road. So
Your dad knew where a lot of that stuff
yeah,
was.
yeah, that could be one way to do it.
That's how he did
Yeah.
it and it worked. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Smith.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Anybody in the public like to come up before I close public hearing? Seeing none. Anybody on Zoom? We do have a hand up.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Lake?
Yes, this
Yes,
is
name and
Jeff
address,
Lake.
please.
Jeff Lake, 275 Rice City Road.
Go ahead, Mr.
Um,
Lake.
I'd just like to say that I agree wholeheartedly with all my fellow residents and all their comments. There's a couple of things I would like to say as well. As far, I want to back up what Cecil said. Unfortunately out here, a lot of the trees are got destroyed by the gypsy moths and bugs, and there's so many standing deads out here that 35 feet of keeping the tree frontage is like, you might as well not have any trees there, because I can see 100 feet back on this property. It's useless. That 35 feet, it's a great gesture, but the trees are dead. It's not going to do any good. So they would have to plant trees if they want a tree buffer, and I'm okay with a tree buffer, but there's no trees there to create a buffer. So they're going to have to plant trees if they want a 35-foot tree buffer. Number one. Number two, I have great concerns about the road being widened enough. Down at my end here, it's fairly wide when I built my section of it. But the road is pretty tight going down there. And with the poles in place and trying to find that 24 feet, it's going to be tough, number one. Number two, 6 houses, minimum 12 cars, most likely, kids, whatever, mother-in-laws. You're talking 20, 24 cars are going to be added to the street. And if you can't get that street right now as it is, someone's coming down the street, one person has to pull over to let the other person by. So adding another 20 cars coming in and out at different times of the day, down to their property, the end of their property, there's still, some road left that they're not going to widen. That is essentially a 1-car road. So you got 20 cars coming out of the 6 houses, the Rice City Estates, which is a horrible name, by the way. We don't need estates out here. But you got 20 cars, essentially up in that air, up at that end of the road, coming down. If they get 24 feet, that's fine. But once they pass that property line, it's going to go back down to 18 feet. And you're going to have a hard time of cars getting in and out. Again, not to mention cars coming in and out on 14. If you're trying to get into Rice City Road and you got a car coming and that road is, the people are flying up and down that road, just like my neighbor on the corner discussed. I have great concerns about the road and being able to handle 20, 25 cars coming in and out on a daily basis. And other than that, like I said, I just wanted to say I agree with all my neighbors that came up and spoke, and I agree 100% with what they said as well. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Any other hands up? Bring them in. Patty? Are you there, Patty?
I'm here.
Name and
Yes,
address.
going back to the wells,
Name and address, please.
of Patricia Chamberlain, 1449 Plainfield Pike, Green, Rhode
Thank you.
Island. Going back to the well issue, when I first moved up here in 1981, I moved up here during Pachillo. So I did go to URI and ask which way the underground water flows. And from what I was told back then, the underground aquifer goes from north to south. So that means that my water table is below your proposed 6 houses. And you're saying that as you drill wells, you drill one at a time. So house number 1, the well is okay. House number 2, the well is okay. House number 3, the well's not okay. Well, if you can't get enough water for 3 houses, what's it going to do to everybody else's, water that's below you that pulls from there? And it's not just me. You're talking, you know, like I said, the water that flows underground is flowing towards basically, say the sea, goes down towards 102, towards 95 way. And going back to what Mrs. Moore said about the intersection, back in the either late 80s or early 90s, they were supposed to actually redo that corner, because I'm on that actual corner. Because that's one of the things we talked about, is having, you know, what was gonna happen with my driveway. And so that has been abandoned now for well over 30 years. Because they couldn't do anything. So that's, you know, that's another one, like I said, of my concerns. And going back, I don't know if anybody's actually gone out to the end of Rice City Road to see. It's the road on the other side is all open. You can see what's coming. You come out of Rice City Road. If you're looking towards the left, coming out of Rice City Road, going south on 14, you can't see anybody coming up around because it's a slight curve. So it's a very dangerous spot there. That's, you know, I just wanted to add that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Any other hands, Cody? Anybody else in the audience like to come up? Okay, hearing none, I'll make a motion to close public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close public hearing.
Motion by Mr. Burke. Do I have a second?
Second it.
Second by Mr. Smith. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, public hearing is now closed. Mr. Cronin, anything to come up and add?
Nothing further.
Okay. Okay, I'll entertain a motion for Rice City Estates. Mr. Anderson?
Mr. Chair. I'll make a motion. Approve this preliminary plan, move it forward. Zoning Board of Review. Just with a couple stipulations. This is for Rice City Estates, 6-lot major subdivision without a street creation. Owner applicant Pippin Orchard Investors. Address Rice City Road. Plat 320 lot 77 zoned RR5. Lot size is 60.93 acres. They're proposing a 6-lot major subdivision. Just want to note that they're not asking for no relief. It's a conventional neighborhood. It fits within the guidelines of the comprehensive permit for District 1. They were asking for some waivers that I might have missed. I just want to make sure the street requirement. The applicant is instead of proposing a tree requirement, instead of proposing a 30-foot no-cut buffer along Rice City Road. After testimony, my hopes is that something grows in. 35 feet is more than generous. 15-foot pedestrian, waive the 15-foot pedestrian bicycle town easement. And then waive the identification of trees 50 years or older. I just want to ensure that the needed approvals are, I just want to note these, that RIDEM, RIPDES, RIPDES permit is needed, wetlands insignificant alteration permit, preliminary determination for wetlands will be needed, OWTS also. Town engineer soil erosion permit also. I want to note the stipulations on the back that I believe we discussed with the needed approvals. You just in this motion, Mr. Cronin, I want to make sure you saw the stipulations on the back. There's 8 of them, 9 of them. Correct. Yup. Inclusive of the following stipulations, right? Final stage here. I'll read them if you want. Okay, so I'm just gonna incorporate the staff report on that without having to read them individually. And just finding of facts. The comprehensive plan defines the rural residential zones as areas which are generally not served by public facilities in which intensive development should not occur. These are characterized by low density development, large estates, agriculture, and certain low intensity non-residential activities incidental to the rural environment. The district is designated to preserve the rural character of the town and preserve and protect environmentally sensitive land. These parcels, with their proposed acreage, are consistent with the comprehensive plan. Significant negative environmental impacts. The applicant will have to receive RIDM approval for an OWTS for the proposed new homes as a condition of a building permit. Strict adherence to the guidelines set forth in any permit from DEM should ensure that there will be no negative impacts to the environment. The zoning standards development will comply with the town of Coventry zoning ordinance and its traffic impacts. Despite the testimony here tonight, the proposed number of homes will not likely have an undue negative impact on the town's roadways. I just want to incorporate the staff report in my motion. That's it.
Final administrative.
Oh, and proceed final administratively also.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. I have a favorable from Mr. Anderson. Do I have a second? I have a second by Mr. Reyes. Any further discussion? Go ahead, Ray.
All right, Mr. Chairman, just a couple of things, Glenn. I don't know if you noticed, and maybe you consider changing your motion. We actually picked up 2 more stipulations today, so there's actually a total of 11.
Okay.
10 being detail A on sheet 10 of 11 shows the widening of the existing roadway to be 18 feet. However, the applicant, DPW director and town engineer have agreed to widening the road to 24 feet. So the applicant shall amend their final plans to reflect the road to be 24 feet wide. And I'm going to add to that where possible. And I would also like to amend stipulation 4 to say the minimum 24-foot gravel standard be where possible for vehicular traffic, because there may be some locations where 24 feet isn't possible. Number 11 would be the applicant shall submit at the final plan design stage an additional letter from the fire district stating that the size of the proposed gravel turnaround is sufficient for emergency vehicle use. So if you would consider amending your motion to include those additional comments I just read, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay to amend that?
I'm okay to amend it. I mean, I'll just elaborate on the, details showing the 24-foot road. And this is in the, I'm going to incorporate in my motion, the engineer's report. The town engineer's letter to planning department, which states for the 24-inch frontage where possible, and also the proposed gravel turnaround, fire department approval for sufficient size. Just an additional approval of that turnaround. And just to number 4, to where possible, stipulation number 4, 20-foot gravel, widen it to a 24-foot gravel road where possible. I think that covered it.
I have an amendment. Do I have amendment on the second, Mr. Reyes? Okay. Any other discussion?
Now into discussion, Mr. Chairman, just a clarification. So the waiver that's being requested is not to, for example, clear cut the property for 35 feet back, only to try to plant ornamental trees. And the waiver that's requested is just to leave the 35-foot as it is, not necessarily to provide screening. Is that the intent?
Yes.
Because it just didn't make sense at Rice City Road to do what we do in a conventional subdivision, which is clear the lot and then go along when the houses are built and plant a bunch of street trees that really aren't going to fit in with the neighborhood. Okay, I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, I have a motion. I have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Yes, if you could. Thanks, Mr. Cronin.
Yeah, haven't taken a break.
All right, we're gonna take a 5-minute break. I'll give you 5 minutes. Pen if you need it.
Out of your nose.
Okay, next on the agenda, 11.2, public informational meeting on a master plan. Blue Cow Solar owners, NAR YA LLC, Frank A. Robinson, fourth, lot 27.1, Mukau LLC, Leo Blaze, lot 28. Applicant EDRNAA Distribution Generation LLC. Applicant proposes to construct a 4.4 plus megawatt direct current ground mounted major solar installation, AP 304 lots 27.1 and 28, zone RR5, 2446 Victory Highway.
Good evening,
Name and
Mr.
address, please.
Attorney Dane Ardente for the applicant, 1 Turk's Head Place, Suite 1200, Providence, Rhode Island. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. My name is Attorney Dane Ardente and I represent the applicant and owners. As you stated, the Mukau application for major solar installation is a 4.4 megawatt ground mounted solar array that would cover 12.7 acres. 9.4 of those being reserved for the array itself, the rest encompassing the associated equipment, utility poles and chain link fence. The properties themselves, I don't know if we have a copy of the site plans that we can bring up. Currently is proposed on 2 separate properties. I believe they are assessor's plats 304 lot 21.1. I'm sorry, 27.1 and lot 28. Lot 27.1 is the frontage lot you see to the west, bordering Victory Highway, and that has roughly, I believe, I had it written down, but frontage along Victory, 980 feet along Victory Highway is the frontage. The second lot being lot 28, currently has no frontage. However, as a condition of final, these two lots will be merged and the solar array will actually be on what is currently lot 28. So initially we had the solar array pushed up against Victory Highway, and I know that the commission wanted to see differently, so we pushed it roughly 1,000 feet to the east.
At least.
Yeah, I think at least, yeah. And the nice part is it's not visible from any public road other than maybe portions of Victory Highway. But as you can see by the layout, to the north is a vacant parcel. To the south, more wooded parcels, and there are several abutters to the northwest, I believe. But other than that, there really would be no serious eyesore issues from public roads. The total area of the parcels together would be about 116 acres. A question of the commission at pre-application, I know, was how much land clearing there would be. We came up with a figure of about 16.4 acres, and that includes some clearing that had already been done just with regular property maintenance and whatnot. It includes shade tree clearing as well. My engineer who's with me tonight will go more in depth on that. The project would propose to leave an area undeveloped, probably around 100 acres. Lot 27.1 currently in its current state has a dilapidated house on it, so that would be demolished prior to final. The only infrastructure included other than the accessories to the solar array themselves would be the widening improvement of an existing gravel drive, as you can see, that comes off of Victory Highway. So that starts on lot 27.1 and would head eastward into 28, but as previously stated, those would be merged. Stormwater detention would be located inside of the chain link fences that would go around solar array. As of right now, and I believe we don't plan on proposing any exterior lighting. The nearest public road, like I said, was Victory Highway. I don't think there's anything from what I saw on the map that would indicate there were any other roads. The only other thing existing on the property right now, there are 2 historic cemeteries to the northwest of the property. I guess more direct north. Those cemeteries are located right next to each other, roughly a few feet apart. And prior to any final approvals, the applicant would provide easements for and seek for perpetual care from the town council to keep both cemeteries in their historically recognized condition. At this time, I'd like to present my engineer. I also additionally, I emailed the planning director about this earlier, but I have a representative from the applicant. I don't know if she wanted to speak. I don't know if you guys wanted to hear from her now or after the applicant.
So why don't you present? and then I'll open up public hearing.
Sounds great. So at this time, I'd like to present my, my engineer, Mr. Jason Gold. And I would ask that, the commission certify Mr. Gold as an expert, in engineering based on his credentials. I'll let him present those now.
Name and address, please.
Thank you. Jason Gold with TRC Engineers. Jason Gold with TRC Engineers, Inc. Sure, no problem. 10 Hemingway Drive in East Providence, Rhode Island. And I'm a professional engineer registered in Rhode Island. I've been practicing for over 20 years. And just to clarify on what was just said, it's the applicant, not public hearing, that wanted to present after me. So I'm not going to go through, unless you want me to, the whole description of the whole design as I did last time at pre-op. The design itself hasn't changed. What has changed on the plans that have been submitted this time, the base plan at pre-op was GIS. The survey's since been complete, so now we've got land survey. We added the 50-foot perimeter setback around the historic cemetery, as well as a proposed easement to that cemetery. That's really all that's changed since pre-op.
That was the road moved.
The road hasn't moved.
I thought it was gonna go through the wetlands to the left that were told us at the site walk. That it was actually moved. DM required it to go through the wetlands. We walked quite a ways back.
I see what you mean.
Okay,
The road that we proposed at pre-op hasn't changed.
Okay.
That's still what we're showing.
okay.
Right, so it's the existing driveway about up to the house, existing house. And then it veers off so that it's avoiding the wetlands.
Okay, thank you. I just
Right.
wanted to clarify.
Yes, yeah, there's an existing driveway trail that goes through the wetlands. So rather than use that, we're gonna shift that so that we're avoiding wetlands.
Thank you.
There is one thing I wanted to clarify since pre-op. So at pre-op, we talked about rather than planting, maintaining that 40-foot existing vegetated buffer, the existing woods. Since we have the survey and being on that site visit, there is one area on the north. If you can switch to page 6, the survey, you can see it a little bit better. Yeah, and if you can just zoom in a little bit. So the northern part there, you can see the tree line actually extends up outside the property. So it's about a 250-foot long strip where that 40-foot setback, it's not really wooded. It's vegetated, there's some brush, but it's not trees like I thought it was at pre-op. That doesn't screen anything. The lot to the north it's all wooded, it's not developed. So I kind of wanted your feedback. If you insist that we plant there, to have the vegetated 40-foot buffer, we can, but it doesn't accomplish anything. There's nothing to screen from. But I did just want to point that out because
Speaking
that's
from
not
my
what it.
site, I agree. There's nothing really that needs a buffer. You can't see it.
Right, yeah, you
my
feel like you're in the
opinion.
middle of nowhere.
We walked quite a ways back. So. But thanks, appreciate that.
So really, that's all that's different from pre-op. If you want me to go through the highlights from last time, I can, but I'll leave that up to you.
I think the main change you brought up, I think Mr. Burke brought up that, was very close to the street. So we were concerned about that, but you certainly pushed it back at least 1,000 feet.
Yeah.
That definitely addressed that concern. Does anybody have any questions for the engineer?
There are no residences, no houses to the north, directly to the north of the panels?
Not directly to the north, right? That's all wooded.
Where, do you estimate where the closest house is to the north?
Yeah, it's on the street side.
Okay.
So there's nothing that goes all the way back.
Everything's on the other side.
They're all on either side on Victory Highway, right? Yeah, to the south is there's another solar array,
Yes.
right? And then to the north, it's wooded.
Is the cemetery right away, always gonna be acceptable for the public, like no gates or
Right,
limitations to getting on the property if people want to go to the cemetery?
right,
It's always gonna be acceptable.
right.
like pull in and walk up the right away. to get to it.
Yeah, the arrays in the back of the lot,
I see
but
that.
historic cemetery is on the front side. So the gate to the array is further back.
Correct, correct. But
Right.
a resident interested in history, be able to pull into the driveway and then walk up the right away to get the, they won't have limited access to get to the cemetery, correct?
As far as I know, I'm gonna have to defer.
I think
Is
that
that-
Attorney Dane Ardente again. I think that that would be dependent on the town council. I'm not quite sure at this point in time, whether the applicant would be, required to provide access to the public, but it would be something that we'd be more than happy to explore.
It's so far away from the solar array that it would be like.
It's something that we can absolutely consider. And additionally, I wanted to just kind of add to the southeast. Yeah, southeast, the nearest house is about 450 to about 500 yards roughly.
Yards?
Yeah. Anybody else have any question? No. Go ahead, Mr. Anderson.
When you spec out these panels, are you like a generation ahead? Are you are you planning for the the next design of solar panels? Are you locked into this 5x8 solar panel that very well could be a 4x6 solar panel, but by the time you start this development?
We're not locked in at all. So this is the concept plan. As we go to the next stage, right, this will change the modules, change the fence and the road, the general layout of it. Right, that'll stay the same.
Right.
But yeah, as this progresses through the permitting process, that design will get advanced. The electrical engineers will look into it. So those details would change.
All right, and like the other solar arrays that are in this town, power is really not going to any of the residents or powering a home. It's just going right back to the grid. So it's just pretty much a power company for the most part. Okay, thanks.
And you'll have a decommissioning plan?
Yes.
Set? Okay.
Yeah, future next stages, right? Well, decommissioning plan, operation maintenance
Right.
plan, erosion sediment
I know
control
it's gonna
plan,
match.
stormwater, all that fun stuff.
Anybody else have any questions before I open up public hearing?
And we have Nicole with EDP as well, the applicant.
If you want to bring Nicole?
She's on.
Oh,
She's on
okay.
Zoom.
You want to bring her in?
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. Well, hey, good evening. I just wanted to take a quick moment to introduce myself. My name is Nicole Hakpana, and I'm the project development manager for Moocow, representing EDP Renewables. A little bit about EDPR. EDP Renewables is a global and national leader in the renewable energy sector, developing and operating more than 8,000 megawatts of clean and reliable energy for communities all across the United States. At present, we have about 200 megawatts in the solar development pipeline, with Moocow being a really special piece of that. And so we're really excited and looking forward to working with you and the community together on this project. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much. Anything else before I open up public hearing?
Nothing prior to public hearing.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to open up public hearing.
I'll make a motion to open up public hearing.
I have a motion by Mr. Reyes. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Smith. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, public hearing is now open. I'll start on this side of the room. Anybody would like to come up for or against this project? Seeing none, anybody on this side? Come on up. I think you were at the site work. Were you at the site walk? No, you weren't. I thought you might have been at the site walk.
I'm Glenn Mead. I live at the Glenn Mead, MEADE. I live at 2524 Victory Highway, which is right next door. Currently, I didn't have a say in the solar farm that went on the West Greenwich side, which is a very large development. You can see it perfectly fine from my house as I'm 900 feet off the road. So this, I'm definitely against, which I don't have the time or the power or the money to fight any of this. So if anybody had a house in the middle of the woods like I do, I moved out of the city to get away from that kind of stuff. if you can see this stuff, I can see the house that they're talking about demolishing, which also has a ton of rats in it because it's been empty for a long time and they do come over to my property. So when they demo this house, there's definitely going to be an issue with rodents. A lot of the previous owners before they bought this knocked down several of the historic walls that run through the property. And if you take a walk through there, you will see that they've been demolished and nothing was really done about that. There are wetlands behind there. And I know my voice is a little messed up, sorry.
Oh, no problem.
I'm set to buy this property. I'm renting to own this property from Kim Turtelot, and they basically built that house in 1992. So I've been there for 8 years. I'm set to close on this house in 2 years. And our values have just been reevaluated by the town of Coventry. So I strongly believe that this is going to drive the value right down into the toilet. I mean, if there's any other benefits that they could provide, we have a windmill right across the street from our house. Several windmills, I should say. There's a solar farm right in my backyard, and they're going to put another solar farm on the other side of my house. And I will be able to see it because I can see the house that they're talking about, where they're talking about the road going through. There's definitely no chance that I'm not going to see all this stuff. And if I ever wanted to go sell this property, there's no chance that I'm going to get what I should get for it. And that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Anybody else have any comments, public? Seeing none, anybody on Zoom, Cody, with hands up? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to close public hearing.
The motion, we close public
I
hearing.
have a motion by Mr. Smith. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Price. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried to close public hearing. Okay, would you like to just come up and address that for that gentleman? How far do you figure?
So I just did the measurements on my phone, and I understand Mr. Mead's concerns wholeheartedly. But the actual distance I'm calculating roughly is about 960 yards from Mr. Mead's house. Yeah. So Mr. Mead's house, if we could bring up the plan by chance. Roughly.
900 yards that's greater than the distance from the street to the panels, so that doesn't make sense. It's only 900 feet to the panels, 1,000 feet.
And I wish I could project this.
Right.
Yeah. No,
It's right, it's right next to him.
So even on that line, I suppose I was calculating from the middle of it, but even from the line from the front of it is about 460.
Yards.
Yeah. So I sympathize with Mr. Mead, but what I can say is that this is a property that's located in an RR5. And there's really no, other than wetlands, obviously, there's no constraints on development for residential housing. So I'd just like to, remind Mr. Mead that this is realistically, although it's an inconvenient use for some abutters, it's a temporary use realistically, and it allows large swaths of land to actually be conserved in I suppose not conservation land, but open space. As you can see, we lost it again, but we're proposing to keep roughly 100 acres of it open space.
And you'll have to get a special use permit.
Yes, correct.
Zoning.
Yep.
Okay. So you'll have to come back for a recommendation.
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yes. Thank you.
All right.
I
Go
just
ahead,
wanted-
Rick.
Well, now I know Mr. Mead came up and said he was about 900 feet back. His lot is 975 feet deep from the road. So I don't know where his house is located, which in all fairness, and I realize this is stamped permitting master plan, but it would help to see where the dwelling, the lot is shown here on your plan. You
no
show
dwelling.
you show your dwellings that are proposed to be demolished, but you did not show the dwelling or the driveway on the Turtle Lot property so that we could gauge the proximity for ourselves. I just have an issue with that. And I don't want to gloss over it because you're looking at your phone and he's telling me he's 900 and some odd feet back, which would put him basically on the back property line. And I think in order for us to gauge that, it's challenged.
We can show, that's no problem. We can show that lot, that house on the preliminary plan application.
Right, but that's an issue for us if we're gonna vote on master plan approval tonight. We don't even know where his house is in relation to your development.
I think we can bring up a map, no? With the Coventry GIS.
Well, maybe. Actually, if you go to local, you should be able to get the winter aerial view from 2022.
Though not an exact science, you can go to Google Maps as well.
That actually has a distance measure right on it. If that opens up, that is a there's an aerial photograph that was taken in winter of 2022 under the local view. They probably have I don't know, you got internet or here? How are you guys locked into that? It should load, right? Okay. Okay, and then maybe we can just lift it just a little bit further up because it's also interesting to see the solar array to the south and the West Greenwich side, which isn't shown on any of these plans. Right, because everything is beyond the property line, so there's actually a measure tool right up in the corner. Yep. Yeah, that's about, yep, we're right, yep. And the distance should be shown, right? How much? How much?
Just over 900 feet.
How much was that?
900 feet.
900 feet?
Yes.
300 yards.
300 yards. And how close is this house to the West Greenwich solar array?
About 800.
800.
And that's cleared on that one.
Clear.
Yep.
So it's gonna stay wooded.
Yeah, you're not clearing any of that.
I believe maybe Jason can comment on it, but I think the only improvements going in from, other than obviously accessories going from Victory Highway to the back lot would be minimal grading and widening of the easement, correct? Or excuse me, the access road. Driveway, thank you.
Yeah, they stated that at the site walk, that they were going to improve that road we
Yeah.
drove in.
But other than that, that lot essentially is going to stay the same, absent the house room.
Right, I'm just looking in the after and again, I don't know how you could address it, but if he looks out his back window or he's sitting on his back deck, if you can't alter the wetlands, will he be able to see those solar panels at all? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Or is there's either gonna be a natural buffer or are you gonna provide? That's what I'm trying to find out.
Right, yeah, so this, I mean,
I realize it's 900 feet, but it could be 900 feet, 5 feet tall of low-lying brush, wetlands. You can't go in and plant anything, or it could be there's so much growth in there, he'll never see the trees.
Yeah, so the,
I mean, the panels.
no, I mean, these are trees,
There's a lot of
you know, within the realms here, it's kind of, some clearing the wells in this area.
Yeah, I'm not
So
too.
I can see the street, the existing house.
No,
But yeah, that,
Yeah, as your attorney indicated, the front portion of the lot, someone could put single-family houses there. So I'm only concerned about the visual of the solar panels. And it's unfortunate that the example he has to live with now is on the West Greenwich side. And that's clearly, they've cleared it. So unfortunately, you know, we have no control over that. We just want to make sure it's not going to be the same situation if we were to approve this application. So what I'm kind of looking for is he won't be able to see the solar panels, and if he can, we'll make sure he can.
Right, yeah, no, we can address it. So we can, you know, we can go out there and we can take some pictures looking towards his house. We can show the sight lines, profiles. You know,
Yeah. Okay.
like that. And like you said, I mean, it is visible in the recent plans. It's landscape.
Okay.
And I as well would comment too that, you know, we're definitely not opposed to any kind of screening, but I think it, and I could be wrong on this, but I would think that it would have to depend on what comes back with the wetlands.
Correct.
So I don't think we'd be able to say until we get more information on that. But it's not something we're opposed to at all.
Nope, that's okay. It doesn't have to go in that particular location. Arborvitae's on his property line work just as well.
That's right. Other than that, I'd be happy to answer any inquiries of the board.
No. Anybody else have any questions? Well, we want to open up public hearing so he can talk. Let's make a motion to reopen public hearing for Mr. Mead.
I'll make a motion to reopen public
I
hearing.
have a motion. I have a second.
I'll second it.
A second by Mr. Smith. All those in favor? Aye. Come on back up.
Glenn Mead, thank you. Thank you guys for reopening that. I appreciate it.
No problem.
It's my fault for not even hearing that it was closed. I'm just very upset about this, obviously. They also don't tell how many months it takes of the tree companies coming in there from 6 in.the morning until 6 p.m, 7 days a week, stripping these trees. Because I dealt with it when they did that project right there, and there's not any trees at all around there.
Clear this.
No, he means where the panel.
Right.
I mean,
Well,
where the panels are going. So if somebody honestly wanted to come walk the property, they were more than welcome to walk through my house. My house is literally 850 feet off of the road. And you'll see that little cutout behind me. That's really all I have from their property, because there's a stone wall that runs right there and that divides the property, and the stone wall going this way divides the property. And there was another stone wall over there, but that, like I said, was taken down. And I really don't feel like having arborvitae's in my backyard just to appease me.
Suggestion.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know, we want to make sure that there's a buffer.
yeah, I understand. I do appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that. Yeah. And I mean, if you go down 102, there are countless solar fields, countless. And most of them are on West Greenwich. I get that.
On 95.
But all along 95 too, they just cleared another section by the truck stop. And what benefit is it going to be to any of us in Coventry, other than maybe they'll pay taxes on the property? What do we get? We don't get any benefits from the power. They outsource it. Well, thank you for hearing me.
I have a question. How's the shine on that summertime, August, June, July? Is it a bright?
So they made the house direct north-south so that it's very well insulated. So I have a good constant flow of sunshine, east to west.
All right.
So it rises and goes right over the house, and I mean, it's very well heated.
No, I'm talking the brightness of.
You get a
Oh,
reflection.
the brightness of it? Yeah. I get a
reflection.
reflection from that solar field, yes. And that's why I said I invite anybody to come to my house and you can witness it for yourself, especially in the winter when there's no trees, when there's no leaves. It's terrible. It's absolutely horrible. Plus, I don't know what it does to the groundwater. I really don't know what the runoff from the solar panels. I have no idea. I'm not educated on that, so I don't know. But thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to come up and speak? Anybody on, hand up, Cody, since I reopened? Okay, I make a motion to close public hearing.
Make a motion, we close public hearing.
I have a motion by Mr. Smith. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Ray's. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, public hearing is now closed. Okay, you want to come up and try to address his concerns the best you can?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
To address the concerns, obviously, same statement as before, we'd be more than happy to provide screening. I did notice that it seems the solar array to the south seems to be on a higher grade than ours would be, so sticks out a little bit more. It seems Mr. Mead would be probably a little higher, if you will, than our grade. Either way, I have nothing else at this time. More than happy to open to suggestions.
Anybody else have any questions?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Mr. Burke.
Kind of going in a little different direction now. I know a decommissioning plan will be involved at later stages. Can you enlighten us as to a little bit of like what that might include? I know this is like a 25-year life expectancy. At the end of 25 years, is there a plan to do this all over again and have another 25-year solar array? Or in 25 years, are we gonna end up with 20 acres of cleared land and a subdivision is gonna come in with 40 houses because it's an open lot? What, can you tell us, like, which direction do you think we're gonna go here?
So I can't tell you what's going to happen in 25 years with subsequent owners, applicants, and things of the sort, but I can tell you that,
None of us we won't be in this room.
No.
It'll be somebody else.
But they gotta set a bond.
yes, I was going to say we
They
have to
gotta
set a
post
bond. So the town would,
Right, so it'll be taken care of. But
it'll
what-
be taken care of. There, from what I
options
know,
are left?
there are no plans to continue, I suppose, the same use. What happens in 25 years, I mean, it's the same as what would happen today if we dropped our application. It's up to whatever applicant or whatever land use would come in next behind us. Could stay open space, it could become a subdivision. Maybe the state will be a little bit more, I suppose, conservative of open space lands at that point in time. But I can't speak to what's going to happen in 25 years.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Anderson.
Thanks for showing up. If this doesn't move forward, just want you to understand the reasons. The director's report, well written, and I believe I agree with the town ordinance where it fits. Just where I tend to be at odds is that with the comprehensive plan and as far as it fits, this doesn't fit in with the adjacent properties out in District 1. And several times in the comprehensive plan, it just says intensive development should not occur. It's in several areas. I have it highlighted, but just like D1, .3, it says, Western, however, is just treated differently in an effort to preserve the rural character of the western portion of town. The land use plan contemplates very low density residential development, agriculture, open space and parks, outdoor recreational. Several times it says, no intensive development should occur. So this doesn't fit, say, with the rural character that's out there now. You're talking about clear cutting 12 acres of land. And I'm just saying, if it doesn't, go forward, these are multiple reasons, in the comp plan by itself, not so much the ordinance being cited.
I'm trying to find the portion of the comp plan you cited.
Sure, D, it's in D, which would be analysis of the land use plan, D1.3.
D1.3.
Yeah, D1.3. D.1.3. Land use.
I believe there was one more line to the quote you made, and
Sure.
I had it earlier, but is
Well,
that
I
the
can
whole-
read it.
Yeah, could you read it for
The
me?
plan for commercial and industrial use in the area is extremely limited. It's only really surrounding the Summit Village area, which I believe you're out of. Mindful that the extension of public water and sewer impossible in the western portion of the town are improbable in the western portion of town. I don't know, there's not much more to it other than no plan for large scales. There's no plan for large scale commercial business park or office has been devised. Instead, commercial ventures are guided toward the eastern portion of town where these services and facilities are in existence or are more likely to be introduced. That's D1.3.
So I can tell you that although I understand your concerns about the solar array not being in conformance, or I guess the general character of the surrounding area.
Sure.
Our Supreme Court has respectfully disagreed with you on that in
Okay.
terms of where there's a conditionally permitted use. It's deemed to be within conformance of the area. So the Coventry Town Council has deemed this to be a conditionally permitted use in that area.
Through the ordinance?
Yes. So I'd have to, I understand your concerns.
Sure.
But in terms of the legality of being within the character of the general area, it is.
A few years ago, we had this almost this discussion. I referenced council at the time for it because the ordinance, I asked, does the ordinance supersede the comprehensive plan? And it has us perceived. And at the time, the council's solicitor said, no, the comprehensive plan usually trumps and the ordinance has us perceived. That I could find those minutes somewhere. So this is the reason I bring it up. And there's several more. So it's neither here nor there. I'm saying if this doesn't go forward, just doesn't fit with the adjacent properties, in Coventry, right? Because I know a baseball throw away, we got a whole different town. So I just wanted to put that out there. That's all.
Yeah, and I
So you- full
understand your
disclosure.
concerns, and I'm desperate. I had the exact quote that you were reading from the comprehensive plan, and it was interesting because I think you accidentally left out the last line of it.
Hold on, it's right here, man. I know. Any other reason for limited commercial and industrial use in Weston is undesirable secondary growth impacts associated with the commercial type development in current rural areas. Suburbanization of Western Coventry is highly discouraged. I mean.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so I don't, yeah. Not my words, man.
No, I
Okay.
know. No, I mean, this is realistically, I understand that these solar arrays are a very contentious issue, especially in the western portions of the state.
Sure.
I encourage you to, bring your objections, your concerns for them, and we can do everything we can in our power.
I do not object to
to set-
solar arrays.
No, I understand. but-
Please understand that.
No,
just don't-
I understand, but keep in mind that as we've talked about earlier, this could become permanent residential housing. as
I
well.
understand, and that'll be vetted if it does come before us, right?
Yes,
Um,
but once that's there, it never goes away, unfortunately,
sure, but if it
unless
fits
you
with,
demolish it.
right, but again, we're just trying to keep compatible, with the rural, with
Yes,
the districts.
I understand.
Even in the vision and goals, C1-2. Protect the distinctive rural character of Western, and Central for the threat of suburbanization, urbanization. That's in the vision and goals on C1-2. And there was several, I just highlighted, what I could at the time. Hey, this may very well pass or fail. I just want you to know if it doesn't move, this is probably more pertinent than for the reason.
Totally understand.
Okay, hey, thanks for listening.
No problem.
Wow.
And if there's anything,
If-
any
if I
other
can
members of
ask
the board?
staff, John, I think they are clearing less than what they can clear, correct, on a percentage? Was that brought up at,
That was brought up at pre-app. And basically what the ordinance states is that clearing shall be kept to a minimum. So there is quite a bit of discretion that's used when determining that. Based on the fact that this has, that the array itself will be 9.4 acres in the grand scheme of things. It is relatively light clearing when taken into account the entire
okay. I just
parcel
wanted to
itself.
make sure, because I know that it was addressed and it was much
Mhm.
less than what could have been cleared on a
Correct.
percentage.
Yeah, isn't there a percentage in the ordinance? No?
I think it's 16 or 17%.
15.
And we're
Yes,
under that.
it's The array coverage is 15% allowed, and we're proposing around 8%.
8, I thought so. Okay.
Yeah, there's a
You're well
coverage
under that.
versus clearing.
Right.
difference there. Yeah.
Between the, here, solar array, 9.4 acres, but then off the side, you have approximately area tree planting 16.4.
Yes, I can address that. So 16.4 acres is the tree line. So that includes the driveway, that includes the fence, that also includes, I'm calling it a tree line because it's not necessarily clearing, because a lot of that's already cleared. Right, so it's not 16.4 acres of trees being cut, but that boundary is 16.4 acres. So that's essentially the limits of disturbance. And then within that, you've got the fence is only 12.7 acres. And then within that, the array, as we're showing, is 9.4 acres. Does that make sense? Okay.
Anybody else have any questions?
Just to clarify, if they were to
Right.
get master plan approval, they still have to go to zoning for a
Yes,
special use
special use
permit. And it's at that point, they have to demonstrate that this project will not adversely affect surrounding properties and it's compatible with surrounding uses.
That's correct. So the applicant will make a petition to the zoning board of review. They would have their own standards that they have to meet to prove that they meet the conditions of a special use permit.
Did I just outline the conditions or did I miss some? It basically has to be compatible with the surrounding neighborhood, not
Yes,
adversely
compatible
affect
with
them.
the surrounding area, adequate off-street parking, wouldn't be detrimental to the health, safety, welfare, and morals of the surrounding community, and consistency with the comprehensive plan. There are a couple of others that most likely wouldn't be applicable. Those are the big ones.
But that's their board.
That's their board.
Okay.
Thanks. Anybody else? Okay, I'll entertain a motion for or against this project.
Anything else you want me to get a stab at it? Give it a shot. All right. Okay, to get this to a vote, Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion to approve the master plan of Nari LLC. Attention Frank Robinson, the fourth, Moo Cow LLC, Caroleo Blaze for applicant EDPR NA Distributed Generation LLC for property at both 0 and 2446 Victory Highway. That would be Assessors Plat 304, lots 27.001 and lot 28 in the RR5 zone. Property currently consists of approximately 109 acres. Existing use is a single-family residence, which is the house that was referred to for demolition. The proposed use is a 4.4 megawatt direct current ground-mounted solar installation, with the installation occupying approximately 9.4 acres, inclusive of the limit of disturbance and the driveway. That the clearing will be somewhere in the vicinity of 16 acres. Let me see. The motion to approve comes with the stipulation that the minor land development require the following approvals from Western Coventry Fire District: sediment control permit from the town engineer's office, freshwater wetlands permit, special use permit from the zoning board of review, administrative subdivision to merge two parcels, Rhode Island Energy interconnection approval, building department for a demolition and building permit, town council approval for perpetual care of the two historic cemeteries. The Town Council of Coventry Comprehensive Community Plan is currently in the process of being rewritten, and the current version does not really discuss renewable energies such as solar arrays or wind turbines. The latest update of the zoning ordinance with respect to solar powered generators was in July of 2017. Article 21 allows for the construction of a major solar installation on municipal-owned property. In previous applications, the Planning Commission has demonstrated the scale of the solar installation and the intensity of its use of the underlying land as a critical measure in determining consistency with the comprehensive plan. Using these criteria, the proposed solar array is consistent with the comprehensive plan. The application does not present a significant environmental impact. Master plan approval will be contingent upon the applicant receiving a special use permit from the zoning board of review, and all other zoning standards will be met. No major traffic impacts are expected. At this time, the following recommendations are incorporated. In addition to the zoning board of review permit, the existing structure shall be demolished The applicant has shown a 50-foot setback around the historic cemetery. The applicant shall label the 50-foot buffer and make it clear that the buffer is a buffer zone and no construction shall take place. An easement will be required for access to the historic cemeteries. The applicant shall secure an approved soil erosion and sediment control permit from the town engineer. Solar installation shall not exceed 12 feet in height as measured from the original grade of the ground surface to the highest point of the installation, inclusive of any support structure or panel. No removal of topsoil, unnecessary grading, disturbance of the ground permitted as part of the installation or maintenance of ground-mounted solar installation is permitted, I should have said. Any topsoil that must be moved shall be stored and stabilized on-site for future use. A grading plan shall show the proposed contours at 2-foot intervals. To the maximum extent possible, all cleared areas below the surrounding ground-mounted solar installation shall be maintained in a vegetated state to stabilize the soil. To the maximum extent practical, all electrical connections and distribution lines shall be located entirely within the structure of the solar installation, underground, or within the structure to which the installation is supplying energy. Electrical equipment between the installation and the utility connection may be above ground if required by the utility. Prior to preliminary plan approval, the applicant must provide proof of utility interconnection. I apologize if this is redundant. Any memorandum of lease, easement, or utility distribution agreement, proof of liability insurance, contract information for the project contractors, grading plan, shading analysis, viewscape analysis demonstrating that the reasonable steps have been taken in the siting of the proposed solar installation to reduce negative impacts on rural and forested viewscapes. A landscape and buffering plan prepared by a registered landscape architect. The plan shall incorporate native species from the Rhode Island Native Plant Database. The existing vegetation shall be supplemented with additional native species where necessary. An emergency response plan must be developed for emergency services, an operation and maintenance plan, including measures for maintaining safe access to the installation, stormwater controls, as well as general procedures for operational maintenance of the installation. There must be a decommissioning plan, including proof of financial surety, written confirmation from the RIDEM pursuant to the rules and regulations governing the enforcement of the Freshwater Wetlands Act. The applicant shall maintain the 40-foot vegetated buffer between the installation of all property boundaries to screen the solar installation from view from abutting properties and roads. Applicant shall provide a copy of the project summary, electrical schematic, site plan to the local fire chief and coordinate for emergency services. No sign shall be allowed on the security perimeter fencing except for sign displaying the installation name, address, and emergency contact information. Property owner and the owner operators of the installation shall be jointly and severally responsible for removing all obsolete, abandoned, or unused equipment within 12 months after the installation ceases operations, including the physical removal of all items, structures, equipment, wiring, and security. All removed components shall be recycled when feasible. Dispose of all solid and hazardous waste in accordance with local, state, federal waste disposal regulations. Stabilize and revegetate the site as necessary to minimize erosion. Unless otherwise approved in writing by this commission, all major and medium subdivision solar installations shall be removed in accordance with their approved decommissioning plan. Prior to beginning the decommission, they must notify the town building official of the proposed dates. Absent prior written approval from the planning commission extending the time for removal of a solar installation for extenuating circumstances, solar installation shall be considered abandoned when it has been non-operational for more than a year. Applicant shall provide a form of surety. All material modifications to the solar installation made after the issuance of the building permit shall require another approval by the planning commission. The applicant is subject to all fees, filing fees, stenographies, development impact fees, building permit fees, inspection fees, recording fees, and all of which shall be paid at the time of making application. Any and all applicable requirements of the subdivision regulations and zoning ordinance not identified remain the responsibility of the applicant. I'd like to incorporate the planning director's report into my motion.
Okay, well done, Rick. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
And I have a second by Mr. Smith.
If I could just interject real quick, there
Yes.
was a portion in there, and I apologize, it is in the report. It talks about, an administrative subdivision. The applicant has requested that that be an item that's taken care of at preliminary. It's up to the board whether that be a separate application, or if you'd be willing to, in your preliminary plan approval, merge the lots as part of that decision. It makes no difference either way. In one
We can do
instance,
it at
there's-
preliminary.
You can do
Yeah,
it.
it doesn't make a difference to me either, and I did read, I believe that was a condition that they would, where was it here? I know it was in here.
Yeah, I read that. That's all. It's in the.
I
report.
read it that it was going to be, a needed approval, an administrative subdivision to merge two parcels. So as long as they do it when, it doesn't matter to me. I'll leave that up to the convenience of the applicant. That's
Perfect.
fine.
Just
I
wanted
don't-
to
I don't
address
think I need to do an amendment on
Thank
that,
you, John.
but thank you. Yeah, that's
I have
right.
a motion by Mr. Clooney and I have a second by Mr. Smith. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'm gonna do a roll call on this. Mr. Smith? Aye. Mr. Ray's,
No,
Mr. Price? Aye. Mr. Burke?
Aye.
Mr. Anderson?
No.
Mr. Clooney?
Aye.
And Chairman Flynn says aye. Motion passes.
What was it? 4-3? Just for the record.
It was 4-3. No, 2, 5-2, 5-2. Yeah,
That's what I wanted to know.
thank you. Thank you.
Next.
Director's report, John, anything?
This month, we do not have any administrative approvals to report on. I'm sure there will be plenty next time, but none at this moment.
Haven't done anything all month, John.
Nothing at all, nothing at all.
He's gonna get to that.
So, yeah, I'll just say, I appreciate all your patience as we get through this tough time. We are extremely short-staffed, so we're gonna get it done as soon as possible. And, yes, I have talked to the chairman. There is a huge influx of applications before us. We do have deadlines that we need to meet. So we are toying with the idea of a special meeting coming up. The chairman and I, we had talked about a date. I got word late this afternoon that the council chambers are not available that day. So we'll proceed forward, trying to figure out a date. We'll probably poll the members, see when everybody would be available, just to try to get some of the things
I'm
off the
fine with a
docket.
special meeting, John, try to get caught up, but again, we can't, we can't catch up everything. If the
Understood.
backlog was created, not by you, it was created. We went through several months, at the beginning of the year and the end of last year, we didn't have any public hearings. We were out there 7:45. I thought it was kind of strange, but here we are with the backlog, so we're gonna pick away at it.
Mhm.
It's not gonna happen overnight. I can tell you that, not with what, up to 10 public hearings backlog?
Well, we got through 3 of them tonight, so
Okay,
we're doing well.
that's good. We only have 7 now.
Yeah.
And the
So
recommendation.
far,
And the recommendations of zoning board don't take a lot, and I don't want to hold up any businesses, so if you're having special meetings, you gotta throw it through, right?
yeah,
Get them out of the way.
yeah, for housekeeping, if you have any stuff
If,
that.
if you can keep up with paperwork. I
Yeah.
understand.
But remember, I said to you, if you have 2 meetings a month, that's more work for your staff. Your staff hasn't grown any,
I agree.
so, we'll work it out.
Perfect. That's all I have.
Can they be at the annex? If this isn't available?
There are
that's up
options
to-
before us. This was something that we're,
Or we can just switch the date. That, he said that date didn't work, correct?
yeah,
The
there are
logistics
options
over
before
there
us.
aren't very good, I'll tell you that. We've
Okay.
done it.
We'll figure it out.
All right. Okay, we're at public comment. Anybody have any public comment in the audience? Come on up. We can take your comments into consideration. We can't. Okay, no problem. Name and address, please.
Denise DeGray, 27
Hi,
Linwood Drive.
Denise.
Hi, Ron. in Coventry. So the Moo Cow thing is gonna have to go before the zoning board.
Yes.
Have they scheduled that yet?
No, so we do not have an application yet on that particular item. So once they submit for that, it'll come back before this board for a recommendation, and then it'll be heard at the subsequent zoning board meeting.
Typically, how long does it take them to get an application over to the zoning board? I mean, are they not gonna make it for the May meeting? June?
It's hard for me to say.
Okay.
They have not indicated that they are applying as of yet.
Okay.
They need to go through and get, I mean, you heard the decision. There's
Yeah.
quite a bit on their plate that they need to get to.
Okay.
So it will happen sometime between now and when they get all those approvals. Unfortunately, I can't speculate on when that will happen, but
Okay.
the proper noticing will
Good
go out.
question. I actually had a question too, why they didn't ask for the recommendation at the same time.
It would make sense,
And
but it
apply
didn't
for
happen.
zoning, because normally that, you being on zoning, you know how it works. And-
Actually, I retired.
Yeah, I know you did.
Yeah.
Congratulations, but you were
I
on
kinda-
many years.
I kind of, 32 years. Yeah,
But, yeah, normally they would already apply for zoning. but
Right.
It has to go through zoning,
right,
but they didn't do that, so.
yeah. Oh, thank you
But
very
thanks for
much,
hanging
Jenna.
around. I really
Oh, yeah,
appreciate
no
it.
problem.
It's nice to see you too. Thanks. Yeah. Anybody else in the audience, public comment? Anybody on Zoom have their hands up? Cody, nothing. Okay. Oh, there's a hand up. Bring him in, Cody. Hi, Michelle. You there, Michelle?
Hi, I'm here. I was just wondering,
Name and address, please.
118 Town Road, Coventry.
Yes.
And I was just wondering, when Revit Energy and they asked for a 1-year extension, do we have any information about that land? Are they asking for an extension because they need to clean it up? Or are they asking for, it just seems like DEM's not getting back to us and we're just trying to find out. We live right next door to that land. So we're just trying to find out, is the extension because they need to clean the land up? Cause I know there was tons of stuff dumped there, or do you have any information on that?
John, if you want to take that, I think they said tonight that they were just concerned of getting within the year, but they were ready soon to come in front of us, if I got
Yes,
it right.
So that's correct. That's the intention. They needed to get the 1-year extension to make sure that their application, their master plan application still stays vested. But they are intending to be on this next coming meeting or the meeting after that with their preliminary plan.
That answer your question, Michelle?
So do they know that that land is buildable? Because as far as I knew, from what DEM was like, the guys that were pulling the stuff out of there, they didn't think that land was buildable.
And
So
we
I'm
wouldn't be
just
able
trying-
to answer that at this time.
Okay.
Is that all your questions, Michelle?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Is anybody else, Cody? I thought I saw another hand go up. No? Okay, go ahead, Mr. Race. All right, motion to adjourn by Mr. Race, second. Mr. Colon, all those in favor? Aye.